What is going on, everybody? We are back for another episode of Old School Hip Hop Discussion. I am joined by my man on the West Coast, Big Reemo. What's going on?
What's happening? What's happening? Thanks for having me, Sean.
Always a pleasure to have you, man. And then I got Matt O. Fell down the 36 chambers. What is going on, Matt?
Game 1 was a win. We're going for game 2 tonight, y'all. Game 2 tonight. Lake show.
Hey, I won't be surprised if Knight jumps in.
I doubt it. If he's gonna be watching this game, he ain't jumping on.
Hey, he might still jump in just to rep.
Right. Especially if they get blown out by 30 by the second quarter.
Or the third quarter, as he say. The third quarter.
Yeah. They actually made it a 14-4 run in the fourth. They made it a little respectable, but I mean, it was a blowout still.
Yeah.
I ain't even watched the game, to be honest. I don't care.
Yeah, I watched the first couple minutes of it. I seen it was up, and I was like, I ain't gonna watch this basketball.
It doesn't appeal to me. But what I was listening to earlier this week, we touched on it last time we talked. Man, at the release of this, man.
I was gonna ask you about that, man. I was gonna ask you on your thoughts and what I'm saying, where that album ranked in your top tops. You know what I mean?
It's Wu-Tang album, man. That's in my top 3.
Yeah. Like between this, Supreme Clientele, I would say like this. If you rank their solo albums, this was right there along with Supreme Clientele's one of the best of the Wu solo albums.
Sean, I'll put that over Supreme Clientele, and then I put Supreme Clientele behind it.
Mine would be in those 3. It'd be in order. It'd be Built for Cuban Links. It'd be Iron Man, and then it'd be Supreme Clientele. But
see, I have Liquid Swords in my top 3.
Yeah, that's another one that a lot of people forget. You know who else don't get a lot of props, man? Is good God Almighty, man. What is it? Not Master Killer. Did Master Killer have a solo album?
Yeah. But those were 2000s.
No, what was No. It'll come to me. I just hold on. Let me go look it up. I got it right on the tip of my tongue, man. Because I know one of the tracks on there, but it's one of those under the radar solo albums that nobody really talks about unless you really sit down and listen to it. Hold on just a second. Y'all carry on. Let me go look this up.
But the thing about this album, man, it's just solid storytelling. Ray and Ghostface just work so well, perfectly together. Verbal Intercourse with Nas is just a fucking killer ass track, man. That's just fucking dope. Banger. Nas just came on there and killed it, and this was during his time when he was doing the Nas Escobar gimmick. I call it the gimmick, but that's what he adopted.
Yeah. It was that gray area, but after Illmatic, when he was trying to find himself, he wasn't really. Yeah. He hadn't done the second album yet.
And the second album, I love it was written. At first, I liked it, and then the more I listened to it, I grew to love it.
Yeah, it was a slow burn for me because that was during the whole East Coast West Coast, so I was kind of like I was feeling it, but when he did that Street Dreams, I was just like, why did he do that? You know what I'm saying? It was like he was almost biting Tupac. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That was the same beat Tupac used.
Yeah.
And I was like,
don't do that.
I wasn't feeling it at first,
Yeah. But that album, when you asked that question of what the album I would recommend to somebody, you know what I mean? Last week, and I said Main Ingredient.
Yeah.
The only reason why I said Main Ingredient is because I feel like that album is just a little too hard for somebody who is just trying to get into hip hop. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't recommend that to somebody to kind of spoon feed it into them easy, like that would kind of scare them off. You know?
I got it. It was what's his name? It wasn't a Wu solo. It was Killer Priest.
Oh yeah.
Heavy Metal. Yeah, that's it. I could not think of that name. The album to save my life, but yeah. That's a good album, man. That a lot of people slept on, man.
I got you because he was the only other person on the Liquid Swords album.
Yep.
Yeah, Instruction
Yeah, it was a solo track, right? I want to say he had his own.
Yeah, he had a solo. Yeah, one particular.
Yeah, Bible song.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which is like one of his greatest songs ever. You know, and then that Heavy Mental album, that shit was deep.
Yeah, that's what I said. You had to listen to that album, man, to get what he was talking about, man.
Yeah, him and my boy did it. They tour and do albums together all the time. So, but yeah,
that is trolling of the highest quality, right there, boy.
Tekashi, huh?
Oh man,
Tekashi can't even really come in.
That is trolling of the highest quality, boy.
I never listened to him. Never will.
I was listening
one
to
song. Never.
Because Only Built for Cuban Links. I want to say it had its 25th anniversary, maybe a month or so ago. And I was watching a live stream with Raekwon, and he was talking about the album, and then RZA had called in, and he was saying, they were FaceTime, and he was saying basically that when and he was talking to Steve Rifkin, and he said Steve Rifkin gave him $500,000 to, as like to sign him, and he said when RZA asked him, what they wanted to do or where they wanted to record the album, they had all their money, so he was like, where do you guys want to work on it? And he was like, man, y'all should go to like Jamaica or something. So what they did was him and Ghostface went to Jamaica for like 3 weeks and wrote the album. They said they went out there, they had like a couple pounds of weed, and said they were just writing the whole album and stuff, and then came back to 36 Chambers and recorded it. You know what I mean? So they had time to kind of bond. They were already brothers, but they went there and bonded, and then wrote the album, and then that's how they came up with all the concepts and all that stuff, as they was out there in Jamaica getting right.
Heaven and Hell is probably one of my favorites, and I just love that slow beat that RZA throws on there, and it's that. Dun, 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 dun. I mean, that's well, and the stuff they were saying, of course, talking about drug dealing, drug deals going wrong and stuff. It is just so. Sometimes, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say mine was Spot Rushers.
Yeah, my criminology, man. For one, I like to cut this sample because I used to hear that back here on our old news station. They used to have I'll deal with you when you get on here. They on our old news station, they used to actually play the song that was sampled for Criminology on. So when I first heard it, it was automatically like, oh yeah,
you knew exactly what it was.
Yeah, it's a rap, man. And then when you took the part for Scarface and stuck that in there, that just made it even better.
Yeah, Criminology.
I mean, Glaciers of Ice, man.
Glaciers of Ice, yeah, that's what I mean. Glaciers of Ice, yeah.
You got incorporated Scarfaces.
Yeah. That video, man. Back then, that was probably one of my favorite rap videos because the way it was shot. I forgot who shot that video. I don't know if it was Hype Williams. No, I don't think Hype Williams shot that one.
Those videos for that album were like, man, it was nothing but like Polo, Versace, and like all the pieces that you couldn't afford. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like all the Polo jackets and all the Nautica.
And you remember when we was in school at that time, everybody wanted to emulate that and get all that shit. Wearing the high school like they cool and shit.
Hey, man.
I remember one of them, that Snow Beach jacket. I remember when that shit dropped. I remember going to, you couldn't find that nowhere, man.
Hey, you remember Averex, man? Everybody rocking Averex. The Nautica, the Timberland boots.
Anything.
Goggles. You remember the goggles? Yeah.
Hey, that was crazy because I remember ski goggles being big back in breakdancing days, like, you know what I mean? And then they disappeared, and all of a sudden, them brothers came back and had them, and it was like it didn't skip a beat. Like nobody even said, like, "Oh man, you mad old school for wearing those goggles." Yeah. It was just like, "Oh, you know what I mean?" Like everybody was wearing them. I was like, "Damn, man, y'all just bringing the shit back."
But you know what, though, Reemo? That's, and you look at styles of hip hop, man, and so you look back then and you see how the style and the rap and the hip hop meshed.
Yeah,
Well, it's like now you got these cats with tight jeans on
yeah,
that
man.
got to pull their shoes up,
Yeah.
and I'm just like,
They got tight
bro,
socks, huh?
yeah, like bro. It then they talk about they the hardest this and that, and I'm like, bro, it don't even. You see a cat back in '94,
Yeah,
'93,
yeah,
'97.
yeah,
Them dudes meant business, man. I mean, look at DMX. Look at
Oh,
what DMX looked like when he came out, man. I mean, he fit in line with the album.
yeah, yeah,
rough, rugged, and raw, man.
Yeah,
That's what X represented.
and
That
he
rough,
had on Timberland and jeans.
yeah.
bro. When people talk about, oh, y'all getting on the guys wearing skinny jeans and stuff like that. Well, what about Grandmaster Flash and Furious 5? What were they wearing? Stuff like. I'm like, each era has a style, a different style, and what they wore was like the stuff that was Parliament was wearing and stuff
Yeah,
like that. It was part of that era. That late 70s, early 80s,
yeah.
wild style era. So you can't really compare it.
It was like it was the tail end of disco, and
Yeah.
it was into it was just the tail end of disco because it pretty much was that. It was the tight leather suits, the
Flashy the flashy suits.
yeah, real flamboyant. You know what I mean, like over the top. Because even
Dr.
though
Dre.
even those foxtails and stuff, them bad boys was expensive.
Hey man, you out there on the west, you on the West Coast, man. Dr. Dre, man.
Oh man, yeah,
Remember when he first came out with World Class Wrecking Crew?
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? The world class wrecking crew, man. Them suits.
saying that was LA. Like all of that was how they was in LA. Man, they dressed like Jamaicans. How you know what I'm saying with the net tank tops and you know what I mean, like the like Ice-T. If you ever watch Breaking,
Yeah, I remember.
Ice-T, the way he dressed, that was the hip hop.
Yep.
That's the way it was. You know what I mean? That was the gangbangers dressing how they would dress when they would go to the clubs. You know what I'm saying?
With the Kangol.
Yeah, Kango,
Yep.
the spikes, the punk rock. It was like a message. I remember my cousins, like I would go to LA and I'd be like, why y'all like dressing like Melly Mel? Because Run DMC was out by then, and there was 501s and Lee jeans and Adidas. I was just kind of like, I'm not really with all that. You know what I mean?
And that was the thing. Like back then, you had Wild Style, you had Beat Street, the Breaking movies. All those had styles of each coast. You had the West Coast style and Breaking, East Coast with the Wild Style, the graffiti, and all that. Everybody had a unique style that made them different, but also at the same time, it was something that was influential in the game of hip hop.
It was new, and then you had people trying to shed a light on it because they seen they could make money from it.
Mm-hmm.
So the outside influence saw, oh man, these guys are talented. Look at these artists, you know what I mean? And these guys were doing the graffiti, and they kind of plucked a few of them and brought them into the art culture, and they kind of ascended that and kind of changed the game. And then you had the people who were bringing the style, and of dress, from the streets onto the, because for that time period, no one saw how we dressed in the hood because they were afraid to come to the hood. So once you put that on the big screen and show everybody, oh, these dudes, this is how they dressing in New York, this is how they dressing in San Francisco, this is how they dressing in LA, this is how they dressing in Georgia. You know what I mean? Like you saw the regionality of it. And I keep telling people nowadays with the invent of social media, there's no more regions. So you don't get a different flavor from everywhere. Everybody is pretty much the same. They have access to the same things, whereas before, I only could get like the hardcore hip hop stuff if I went to New York, or if I had a family member in New York and it could make cassette tapes for me and send them to me, and I could hear it, and then I could show it to my friends and make dubs, and then they could hear it, and then you wouldn't be able to hear an Eazy-E or a Dr. Dre on the radio out there. So I would have to make a tape out here and send it to you, Matt, in Georgia. And you tell all your buddies about it and make dub tapes. And then that's how people got noticed. And you know what I mean? And it took a while. It took a build up for these artists to be able to get cross country for them to even be known about. You know what I mean? So you didn't even know how people looked, much less how their music sound, much less how they look. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, and that's the thing that I think is really lacking in hip hop now is that like you said, everything sounds the same, and it really hurts. It really hurts the genre. I mean, when you think about the guys who actually don't sound the same, these are guys that's been around for years. Kanye and Jay-Z.
yeah.
If you still want to count Jay-Z, guys like that have been around for what 15, 20 years. Well, in case Jay-Z's case, 20 years.
Yeah, Jay-Z was when I was in. I remember Hawaiian Sophie when I was in 8th grade.
Yeah. So,
you know what I'm saying? So,
and see, it's so hard. You can't even. We'll take Tekashi 6ix9ine. He sounds no different than anybody else that is out.
Yeah.
They all sound the same. And so when you don't have that, all right, I'll give you a good example. You had Outkast, but Outkast sounded different than Crucial Conflict.
Yeah.
Crucial Conflict sounded than Nelly.
Yeah.
Eminem sounded different than Slum Village. And they're from the same regional area. Everybody had their own complete style.
Nobody
and that's what nobody wanted to sound the same. It was almost an insult if you sounded like somebody, you know.
Like you try to hate somebody else's flow, then you're like, yo, you sounding like Biggie or something like that, man.
Yeah. That's the whole
person that can get away with that is Shine.
But that was the whole point of the whole Cuban Links album, was not trying to sound like Puffy and Biggie. Remember that whole conversation on the album about people biting the album covers. You couldn't do that. You couldn't have the same thing as someone else.
You know what, Reemo? And a lot of people don't realize, man, that Only Built for Cuban Links was one of the first few albums that people started making guest appearances on.
Yeah.
Because that was almost unheard of back in the day. Seeing guys and groups hopping on solo albums like that.
Especially
and then
they were and new.
Yeah. I mean, that album literally. I think that album catapulted Ghostface Killer's solo career.
Oh yeah.
Because he pretty much, it's almost as if he almost kind of carried the album and said, you know what, inadvertently he just took the album, ran with it, and then before you know it,
And the fun thing about it is they both work so well together off of this that when Ghostface did Iron Man, Raekwon was right there. Raekwon, and they added Capadonna, which is that to me still his best performance on that album.
Capadonna, you say?
Yeah,
Capadonna.
Man.
Yeah, it's funny. I was writing about him, and I was just how he said,
hey Matt, you're frozen. You're breaking up.
My internet's been good.
Nah, you still frozen.
Hold on.
But yeah, those two work so well, and like I said, Capadonna he lived off of Iron Man. To be honest, like he's still living off of Winter Wars. that's his highlight of his whole career is Winter Wars. He even came back and did a video just to his verse.
I seen that. I seen he was like a cab driver in Baltimore or something like recently or something. Like,
damn, you saw that far?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I forget what his reasoning was, but he did a video on. I seen it on YouTube. Yeah,
he was part of the Theodore unit that Ghostface did. With the Trife the God in them.
Was he part of that?
Yeah, he was part of
that. Good album too.
I have the Theodore unit album.
Is it the Theodore unit or was it Street Life?
No, Theodore.
Yeah, he was part of Theodore.
Right? Yeah. And then Street Life, Method Man's artist, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that was a good album too.
Yeah,
that was a good one. But yeah, I think he like you said, he took that and ran with it, and he got his deal off of that deal. Yeah,
I mean, basically, if you want to look at it, Supreme Clientele is basically part 2 of Only Built for Cuban Links. It's literally.
Oh yeah.
You would think they recorded them the same day.
Yeah. I love that Ghostface kept it real about the style. Like he knew his style, and he knew it worked for him, and he didn't kind of deviate from that. Whereas Raekwon, man, that Immobile album was, that was mad forgettable.
Bro, that album was a letdown of epic proportions for me, man. That was almost like somebody slapped my mama, man.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I was like, bro, man. I mean, yeah, album cover looked good.
Yeah.
You cut it on, and it's just like, bro, this is like the W all over again. I mean, it was like, what is this?
And it had nerve to try and like sell it to us, like, nah, that's the joint. I'm like, no, it's not.
Hey man, I'm telling you, it's as a devout Wu-Tang fan, man. When you've heard stuff like Cuban Links, when you heard stuff like Liquid Sword, when you heard Supreme Clientele, when you heard 36 Chamber, Return to the 36 Chamber.
Yeah. Yep.
There was a second album. When you heard stuff like that, you like Method Man album. You like, man, what is this?
Yeah. There was a run in between in the Wu where they put out their albums, and I think it was their second album, like Judgment Day or Judgment Night or Judgment Day.
Yeah, Judgment Day.
Judgment Day. They had a Mobile Larry album. I think by that time, You God's album came out. It was
man,
it was a terrible like run, and it was almost like they were doing like obligations. Like it was like, okay, we're obligated to put an album out for this dude, so let's just go and throw something out there. And it was like cash grabs. Because
I thought that although Liquid Swords is a classic, I did like GZA's Beneath the Surface. I thought that was one of the best out of the second albums.
Yeah, man, Breaker, man.
Yeah,
he was warning us about the day back then.
Right. Yeah. He kept doing that. I mean, even ODB was trying to let us know that, you know what I'm saying, like that if you don't got nobody like us out there, you're gonna hear some terrible stuff. You're gonna end up hearing your Tekashis, and it's gonna turn into that if you get rid of us.
Things like Rap League, so much talent.
Oh, that's real. But the reason why they were so good is because by the time they got on, they were already veterans in the game. They were already grown-ups. They weren't children getting a record deal. Like, they were grown-ass men by the time they got on. You know what I mean? Like, they had record deals, lost them, went to the streets, got back on, and then...
Just is a prime example. GZA is a prime example because he actually released the album before it came out.
Yeah. It was on Cold Chillin'.
Yeah. That was like one... I remember listening to that. I was like, what the... It's a completely different sound compared to what we heard on. And, you know, Prince Rakeem was the one that produced it, which was RZA.
Yeah.
Who was behind on it. And they both wasn't feeling it, but they had to...
Were you guys Gravediggers fans?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So,
I love the Gravediggers album. And that album, to me, is like one of those albums that Prince Paul was the producer.
Yeah.
Another great underrated producer. People talk about his time with De La Soul, but he did a lot of other stuff, you know, besides just with De La Soul. And that Prince Paul album that he put out later on in the 90s was really good. I really enjoyed that album.
Prince Amongst Thieves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But his work on the Gravediggers, that first Gravediggers album is a classic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hands down, man. That's where RZA, that's how, because Prince Paul doesn't get his Prince Paul don't get his just due because RZA basically got his style from Prince Paul on that album. Like the Wu-Tang album was the style that he got from Prince Paul on that Gravediggers album. Because if you listen to it, and he'll tell you that he recorded the 36 Chambers album at that time. It was like at the same time when he was recording the Gravediggers. That's when they had started working on the Wu-Tang.
Oh, so that explains. Okay, I've always, you know what? Now that you say that, I've always wondered how it came. Gravediggers dropped in between it because Gravediggers dropped. 36 Chambers dropped. Which one dropped first? 36 Chambers.
It was around the same time.
Yeah, and so 36 Chambers dropped. Gravediggers dropped. Method Man dropped. That's kind of how they fall right in there, just like that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because when you listen to Gravediggers, it does have the Wu influence. Because you know you had what's his name, Shabazz on there. You had Killer Priest on there.
Yeah.
So there was so much Wu influence on the album, and too poetic.
Hey, man, what about Dangerous Minds, man? When that cut came, boy, oh man, when I heard that cut the first time, man, I was like, wow.
See, and that's another thing, man. Think about it. All of those songs that, like those soundtracks, like High School High and all that stuff. You know what I mean? Like they don't even make soundtracks like that anymore, where you're getting like real hip hop on the soundtrack.
The show, remember the show soundtrack, man?
The show, period. That the movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I talked about it last year, where soundtracks back then was worth buying. You know, and another thing was you didn't mind staying after the movie end to hear the end credits, and they compile all the songs.
That's what you were saying. You said, "Don't be a menace. You stay out there just so you can hear Winter Wars," right?
Yeah, but there was other movies like I always say, Boomerang was that amazing soundtrack, and you took through that entire end credits, and they playing all the songs, made you run out and buy the soundtrack, man.
Yeah.
Crazy because I was running an errand and I think I was listening to Lord Sear or something, and he played a Hot Sex on a Platter.
Yeah,
like damn, man, I'm like I forgot all about that.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like that was that one that was in between. Low End Theory and Midnight Marauders, and when that came out, everybody was like, "Oh shit!" Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Is that how the new Tribe album is gonna sound? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I remember the beat dropped. It was that up tempo beat.
Yeah, everybody was like, "What?" That was the one right there, man. I remember that was the single to get, man.
Speaking of Low End and Midnight,
right?
Yep. Midnight Marauders, man. That's it.
I love both albums, man, but there's always the debate is which one is better. Most people will go with Low End Theory.
It's two totally different albums.
I go with Midnight Marauders, man.
I know.
It's like Reemo said, it's two different albums. They don't need two different Tribe albums, man.
But compared to Beats Rhymer's Life, these two are damn near the same compared to that. That was just completely different. That was like
that was a complete turn. Yeah, that was a complete turn.
That was when they had turmoil. So they started introducing extra people into the fold. So that's how you got Dilla.
The Consequence was on the album a lot too.
Yeah,
Q-Tip's cousin.
That's what I mean. Like they started influxing other people, and I think that's where the struggle started. You know what I mean? Because as it was, they were saying that Q-Tip was a control freak. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I forget what I was watching. It was something they were interviewing Chris Lighty, and he said he had to basically go and strong arm him to get the masters so he could go turn in the Midnight Marauders album, because he kept tweaking it. It was Low End Theory. He kept tweaking and tweaking and tweaking. He's like, man, will you give me this damn album so I can turn it in? You know what I'm saying? Like, you over here.
Low End Theory gave us one of the greatest. What is this? What I was gonna say, but it gave us one of the greatest group tracks ever in a scenario with Lords.
Yeah,
not Lords of Underground. Leaders of New School.
Yeah, definitely. Even the remix with Kid Hood, man, rest in peace. That one verse, man. That one verse, man. If everybody would have said, like, if he didn't get killed, man, there'd probably be no Nas. You know what I'm saying? If you ever hear the Scenario remix with Kid Hood, and they were saying if he didn't die, if he hadn't got killed, like there probably wouldn't be no Nasty Nas, because he would have been the next shit. He was the first bidding war.
Couldn't get my People in Stick album. I tried to find it. I know I have it.
I left my wallet in El Segundo.
Yep. Anita Applebaum, and she got it going on.
Yeah, I remember. Yep. I remember when that came out, man. That was, man. Good times, man. Good times. Good time.
Yep. The 90s was also the last era of, I would say, true R&B.
Yep, especially in New Jack Swing.
Yeah. But it's crazy because when all those stuff, like people talk about stuff like that now, but at the time that shit was not that wasn't a love thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, people didn't like New Jack Swing. Like, they, you know what I mean? I don't know if you remember, but Ice Cube had the classic line, "You can New Jack Swing on my nuts." So,
Hell, what's his name? Phife Dawg got into it with Rex and Effects because of the line he said, "Strictly hardcore rap, not the New Jack Swing."
And then, what do you call it? From Rex and Effect, stole on Q-Tip and gave him an eye jammy.
Yeah,
had to call him Farrakhan.
but he wouldn't do that to Ice Cube. That's for sure.
Yeah, that was why that was the whole thing. They were like, "Well, why are you gonna do it to him? But you wouldn't." You know, you had plenty of opportunities to mess with these dudes, but you didn't do nothing to them. And they was coming at him hard.
I was like, look, Rex and Effects was dope, but compared to the Tribe, their music ain't talked about compared to Tribe now.
Well, it was like different, man. It was like
it
was different.
I mean,
like,
I love the New Jack Swing song. That's one of my favorite anthems. And of course, you know, they got Rump Shaker. That was a classic. But
I was a huge Redhead Kingpin fan. Like that was my dude.
Yeah, Redhead Kingpin was dope.
Yeah, I liked them, man. Pumpin' Hottie, man, shit.
And like you said, New Jack Swing was a different style. But another thing that people didn't like about New Jack,
it wasn't a different sound. It was Teddy Riley's sound. So it was.
What I want to say is, it was a different style because it was the merger of hip hop and R&B, and a lot of R&B heads did not like that. Like there was resistance from the old heads about, man, we don't want to mix with hip hop, you know, because I know you notice all the R&B acts from the early '80s, when they got into the late '80s, they tried to force that New Jack style on their music, and everybody was doing that. Even the Whisperers had high fades trying to do New Jack Swing, so it just was weird, you know. Like, yeah, that was for the young movement, but it was hurting the R&B, the traditional R&B artists.
I think it was that exactly what you said. It was the people who fell victim to that was the R&B artists from the 80s that were trying to stay on and relevant in the 90s, whereas everybody else stayed true to what they were because, you know, you didn't have, like I was saying before, it was a Teddy Riley song, so it was basically like in the modern times of people, it would be like the Neptunes. It was the Neptunes basically running the gamut, producing everybody, and you had a Neptune sound. You know what I mean? And everybody wanted a piece of it. Well, Teddy Riley, it was the same way, but he coined it New Jack Swing instead of just saying you're getting a track from me. You know, that was him being a little arrogant, but he was also trying to disguise the fact that he was the one that was doing all the music for everybody.
And people forget that Teddy actually produced Kool Moe Dee in his rise.
Yeah, he did the show. He did the show for Dougie Fresh and Slick Rick. Like, I mean, it's not like he doesn't have the right to sit at the table. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Yeah, Heavy D, Levert, he did all that stuff. But I mean, you think about it though. You know, for every Jody Watley and Karen White, you still had Anita Baker. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like it was you couldn't get your R&B fix. But
you remember remember the VH1 show The Breaks?
Oh, that show, man. To me, that was a travesty that they shut that shit down, man.
Yeah, I agree.
It was getting good, man. That shit was getting good.
Hey, man, you talk about merging hip hop and R&B, man. Just look no further than the SWV and Ghostface Killer and Raekwon. That hey, man, the song was already good, but then you throw him in there, man. It was
something else, though, right?
Yeah, went to a whole nother level then, man.
How Mariah Carey and ODB.
Oh yeah.
Well, that was when everybody was just wanting a piece of the wood.
But bro, like I remember in the mid to late '90s when Luther had rappers on his album, and I'm like, I don't know.
It's the power of love.
Because that brother, he wasn't having no parts in that. And I remember I got to see him when I was living in New York. I seen him in like 2001, 2000, 2000, right before he died. Literally, it's crazy because I seen him and then he passed away like maybe like a few months later, and then fast forward, me and my wife went and saw Prince, and he just played a concert where he was on the piano, and that brother died maybe like
don't let Reemo go to your concert if
right?
you hey man, do not let him in the door, man. Don't go visit Michael McDonald. Don't go visit Mark James before I go see him.
Hey, we supposed to go see the Doobie Brothers, man, but they can't.
No, don't go see it. No.
The Reemo curse.
It's crazy, man. Because, it's funny you say that because my boys say I got a curse because I went to the Dodgers and against the Giants game out here, and Manny Ramirez blew out his hamstring and never played again. And then I went to another game, and Randy Johnson threw his arm off.
When we go to a comedy convention, we gotta get a shaman just for Reemo, man. We gotta get a shaman.
My boy was like, "Man, you bad news, but I like it."
Oh man.
But you know, I grew up like when New Jack Swing made it big. You know, you had Guy, you had Keith Sweat, you had Bobby Brown drop "Don't Be Cruel," and that shit was fucking banging. Yeah. You know, it was that merger of hip hop and rap. And the reason why I brought up the breaks is because I remember the scene where the dude was trying to get hip hop played in the radio station, and the other guy, traditional R&B, he's like, "Nah, this is strictly R&B. I ain't trying to bring that hip hop stuff in it." And that shit was happening in real life because them old R&B traditionalists did not want hip hop. But and you look at the radio stations eventually had to change because hip hop was becoming more and more popular, and it was making.
Y'all saw it up north. I mean, y'all saw it. I mean, both of y'all from up in New York. Y'all saw it overnight.
Kiss FM was strictly R&B. Then Hot 97 was created around 93, 94.
Yeah.
Hot 97 was blowing them out of the water in the ratings. Kiss FM, by the late 90s, early 2000s, had to just finally put some hip hop on there.
What I used to hate about when I lived out there and I listened to Kiss is they would play like, and they do it out here too, like on some of the traditional R&B stations. Like they play like The Way You Move, but they wouldn't play Big Boy's verse.
Yeah. They did that a lot.
Just through the whole song, and I'm like, yo, like,
just like they like Kanye West song. They take out Twister's part.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck? That's one of the best parts of the song.
Yeah.
But Kanye's a rapper, but he's almost like he's singing it, and then when you get to Twister, you hear nothing but music. I was like, come on now. That makes no sense to me. Why even play the song if you're gonna do that?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That New Jack Swing era mixed in with hip hop, man. That's what basically almost was. I mean, it was the perfect. When you look back at it, man, it was like the perfect storm. Them 90s, man, it's the perfect storm. Everything just kind of like boom came together, and so you had a balance of hip hop. You know, Monica and all them started doing their thing. And then you had on the hip hop side, you had the Nas's, you had your Jay-Z's, you had your Wu-Tangs, you had your B.I.G. Everybody, it was just kind of like, you know, you go from one way to the other way, you were satisfied. Now it's like all over the place. It's like you're just trying to find something that you can actually, you know, can vibe with.
And you look at traditional R&B is no longer what it used to be.
No, I don't think we'll ever get that again, man. I don't personally. You know, and we talked about this off of air last week. That sound, you know, you go back and you play just some of those old 80s and 90s sounds. I mean, you just don't hear that anymore, man. Everything is auto-tune. You know, you don't even hear love ballads anymore. You don't even hear the ballad of love anymore. None of that. No simping. You don't get any simp songs. You don't get none of that stuff no more. You know,
you ain't got Keith Sweat begging.
You ain't got nothing. Hey, them Jonas said none of that. You had no simping. You know, none of that anymore. You got now. You know, it's chaos. It's just chaos on wax. You know, and so I think that you know, I'm just blessed that we were all able to experience that. You know, Reemo probably got a little bit of the 70s. I got, you know. You know, I got a tail end of the 70s. But I got the 80s and the 90s, so you was able to see the guy. Like you said, it was funny because
like I be telling people, man, I remember when it wasn't no. I ain't all that old, but I remember when it wasn't no rap, man.
yeah, I mean, I came, I came up right when hip hop was taking off, and ironically, you'll laugh. One of the first albums I heard as a kid that I can remember just actually sitting down and listening to was Eazy. My cousin used to play it all the time. NWA, he used to play it all the time. And so growing up, by the way, me and Eazy have the same birthday, by the way. And so growing up listening to that, and then watching, Run DMC, Yo MTV raps coming out, and then you watch how the influencer, you remember back in the day, Sean and Reemo, when everybody was talking about what this hip hop, the sounds of this hip hop, these artists, they're the street, and at that time it wasn't even hood. It wasn't nowhere near like it was in the 90s. And they were like, this rap, and then you started noticing, like you said, how some of the R&B acts some of that stuff was already incorporated into it. And then you started seeing how it started separating, and then you started seeing how art, you started coming out with your Run DMC. People forget about the Fat Boys. You never even hear them mention about the Fat Boys. You got LL Cool J, Kool Moe Dee, all these guys in the 80s, and then you watch them you watch how the sound just completely transformed to when you get to the 90s, and then it becomes raw. I call it 90s raw. You get a raw sound, and then from there you get Puff Daddy. You get the champagne Cadillacs, suits, styling and profiling, limousine riding, and you get elbow dropping,
Yeah,
and
but then also like with that, he refined everything. So when you had the merging of New Jack Swing, when they were trying, and you got Met the Resistance, and then he came out and he brought Jodeci, and he had them look the part. Everybody accepted it.
Yep.
And then it completely changed, and that was the death of R&B.
Yep.
Because then you had people who could actually, because then that's when people realized, oh man, rapping and singing is the same. All I got to do is write a rap and sing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, I'm gonna get this R&B money because everybody knows you get paid more to do R&B than you do hip hop.
Yeah.
It's a different thing. You know what I mean? When you write a song for somebody, as opposed to in rap, when you write a song for somebody, you probably don't even get credit. You know.
That's why Biggie did play a hater.
Yeah.
Trying to sing.
Yeah, no doubt.
I hate that song. I remember it was funny back then, but now I'll skip it.
Hater player or player hater, and then
player hater.
He was letting you know though.
It's a funny song, but man, I like that. Look, Biz Markie could get away with it because he's a comedic rapper. When he did Just a Friend and that hook, it became legendary because how over the top it was. Biz Markie trying to sing, but he's being comedic about it. He can't sing, but he knows it's a hit song because everybody remembers it.
I think some of that though also was they didn't have enough material to put that album together, so they had outtakes and stuff from the studio, and I think they just used that one. You know what I mean? Like it was the most complete.
Yeah.
Because a lot of that stuff was like if you listen to Life After Death, it's not a cohesive album. It's like it jumps all over the place, man. Like it's not as smooth as all the other albums for it to be a double.
Yeah, that's the problem with releasing a double album. We talked about this on the last show. Like if you put out a double album, you guys will bring it. The problem is you're putting out 2 discs of music, and not everything is going to work. No. There's a reason why they leave some music on the chopping block, probably saving for later when you release a lost tapes or something like that. Yeah. But when you put out
2 different albums.
Well, I think Tupac was probably one of the only people that could actually get away with that. That actually came out with a double disc album that was actually solid from top to bottom.
But I didn't think it was that solid. I thought all the hits was on the first album, and then when you listen to the second album, it's just pretty much mirrors a lot of topics that he mentioned on the first disc, outside of maybe a few tracks. So I felt like you could have just condensed it down to one solid disc, with the hits and a couple of.
Yeah, I think creatively though they were like, shoot, this brother just got out of jail.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah. And Tupac lived in the studio when he got out of jail. That man did about 25 songs a day, slept, woke up, did another 25 songs. That's why he had so much material after he died, because he lived in the studio his last year in life.
No doubt. Yeah, and
cats don't have that kind of hunger anymore, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. When you got people that go in there and just hum, okay, I think that's a song, And if you hear songs like that from Tupac, like it works because you can hear what he's doing, and then the person who comes in can pick up and go from that, and kind of his skeletons were truly skeleton tracks. You know what I mean? It wasn't like where you got to really go in and write the whole bones and the meat of the album. He set it up, and then
I love the song he did with E40, Rough Man and Redman.
Yeah,
that song was dope. And then you had around that time he was getting ready to work with the Boot Camp Clip, because we supposed to get that One Nation album that we never did. But you eventually heard some of the songs on the internet.
Exactly. I was gonna say like that. You could find it. They had some, but it was not how I'm sure it would have. It was. I seen what they were going for, and that would have been a good album if they would have been able.
I just wanted.
Go ahead, Sean. Go ahead. I was gonna say, so if you could go back to back then in the 90s, who would your dream album? What would your dream album be? What artist would you put on the album? The pair together for a dream album.
Man, most of them they got made, as opposed to like the people who passed away.
I mean, anybody. You can even anybody that's passed away. If you want to say, hey, man, Bigg.
As opposed to the dream album, I would want to see like dream track, like these two artists that never worked together.
Yeah,
I want to hear Tupac and Guru, from Gangstar. That would have been pretty, because they met before, but they never did a track together.
I would have wanted to hear the Tupac and Biggie album.
Yep. That's I was waiting. I was gonna see it come up. Yeah, I was like, that's what I would like to see, man.
Because all that would have been what Only Built for Cuban Links was. You know what I'm saying? It would have been on that level to me. Like I feel like had they been able to get back and reconcile, you know what I mean, after they got all that out their system and they would have reconciled.
We could have gotten it had that thing not happened, that incident not
happened. That's what I was going to say. I was going to say, had that not happened, I think that was going to happen, because that's one of the reasons why Bigg went out west, man. It was like, we go out here, man. Y'all saw that last interview. He's like, hey, man, look, this, and lo and behold, man, he passed away. Tupac passed away, and then we just was never able to get it. And so, you look back at it, and Reemo, we talk about albums that if they did an album together, it would have went down like some with the Beatles.
Yeah,
because it was on they were on that kind of a scale back then.
Yeah, it would have never been duplicated. Like there would have been no way. Like that album probably to this day they would have been doing tributes to it, like, like every song, the 5, 10, 15, 20 year reunion and doing the concert tour, like they would have been able to eat off that album forever.
I wish Method Man and Redman would have put together a serious album. I mean, it's like I was so disappointed. I mean, I like that, the album together, man. But when you hear stuff like How High, I want an album that sounds like that with that kind of production all the way through it.
Blackout,
it's almost like
that was a good album, man. Blackout.
Blackout was cool, but it didn't have that same kind of sound as it had with, like, when you heard it.
Like that was I think
Blackout 2 was disappointing. Me.
That's the album I don't even bring up, man.
Garbage.
Hot, hey, in the vein of Al Rainey, hot garbage.
Now I want to bring reason why I said Tupac and Guru, because Gangstar is one of the greatest groups, two-man groups of all time. DJ Premier is we all know one of the greatest producers of all time. Can you imagine Pac and Premier together on the track? Premier gonna give him heat, and then you got Pac and Guru just spitting stuff. nonsense, man. It's just it'll be off the chain. You know,
That's
that's why I mentioned it.
Hey
That's
man,
the
you
one I
talk.
told you I spent like $30 on that CD.
Hey man, you talking about gangsta, man? And you talk R&B and hip hop, man. I remember when they did royalty, man. You remember that song #1 on Rap City for a while, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
man, you can't go wrong with gangsta, man.
Daily Operation, man. Woo.
Daily Operation. So this is their best album for me.
Yeah. I'm a Hard to Earn fan personally, but I mean that Daily Operation was the one to kind of let me know that I was
Moment of truth.
Yeah.
This was one of the hardest. You know, Mass Appeal is just a classic, and Suckers Need Bodyguards. That's what rappers need today.
For real.
And then there's Moment of Truth. I would say that this and Daily Operation go hand in hand in top tier gangsta albums, man.
Yeah, that was one. That was the most complete.
Yeah, Moment of Truth, man.
That was
Up in the
I
sky.
got the owners, man. And then the new album is dope, but it's just not the same with Guru being gone.
Yeah.
Now, Jace brought up an interesting one.
Yeah, I seen that. I was waiting for.
Oh man, yeah. You know, I don't know how that got past me, man. You know, y'all already know I have an affinity for AZ, man.
Yeah.
Even when on the Firm, you hear them together, and it's like, why are these two not done an album together? I mean, people gonna say, well, they almost sound alike. I mean, but that just show you the chemistry that they got, man. They
still sounds good, man.
I mean,
he got bars. He's not wasted up. Like those albums we were talking about, how they didn't sound good. His later albums, yeah, but he didn't burn himself out. You know what I mean? Like they were bad enough to where they flew under the radar, that where people can't bring them up and be like, man, that was garbage. Like it didn't.
He redeemed himself with some of the later albums, because the ones after Do or Die was really, really weak. I think Asiatic was his first decent album.
Yeah.
And then when he did AWOL, that was a really good album, because the Come Up, produced by Premier, is one of my favorite tracks as well.
Yeah.
What do we learn here, y'all? That if you need to get your career back in order, you need to call DJ Premier. 1-800 DJ Premier.
Real.
Yep. I still got the greatest hits, man. This double disc greatest hits, Gangstar.
Yep. Yeah, that one right there that's like, if you can't get off the 5, then you gotta grab that.
Yeah, because this is the one that it got Discipline on there.
Yeah,
you know, just classic. I got all the albums, and I still go back to that one too.
Yeah. And then I was thinking about, like, we were talking about like how OC is part of
DITC
and Organized Confusion. Like DJ Premier is part of DITC also. You know what I mean? Like if you listen to all their albums, he always has at least 1 or 2 tracks on all of the DITC albums.
Not the earlier ones though.
Yeah, he did the Lord Finesse and Mike Smooth. Like he did like 2.
Yeah, he did that. But no, in terms of majority of their early albums, outside of that one, Premier didn't work with them as much. Like he produced the songs for OC on his second album. He did Big L on the second album, the Big Picture, and he did the DITC album.
I mean, as far as like Showbiz and AG, Diamond D, like on all their albums, he has at least a remix.
He produced the song, the remix, on Soul and AG's second album.
Yeah, Goodfellas, yeah. But I have some white label stuff.
Oh, cool.
Like Soul Clap remixes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like you can tell it was like stuff that there was like spec remixes and they didn't put them out. You know, they probably paid him, but they didn't put them out. You know, but like there's stuff out there like where like even with the Big L stuff, like a lot of that stuff was like I know he did remixes on the first OC album because they were all on Pit. They basically he could produce whoever he wanted on there. You know what I mean? But I think a lot of that he let them do. You know what I mean? Like that way because he was trying to work on Gangstar. That's why I say like Showbiz did. It was like him and Showbiz, like they would tag team on everybody's albums.
Yeah. And then they also had Buck Wild. Then that the second producer who was underrated.
Yeah.
Buck Wild is the man, dude.
But man, their early stuff were actually pretty good before they actually became
blew up. Yeah, before they blew
Yeah.
up. Yeah, before they blew up, man. When they blew up, man, it was straight doo.
Yeah, because that's when they did songs with Noriega and it was like them and the Neptunes were like hand to hand in terms of top tier production.
Who's this? Who you got?
The Trackmasters.
See now, I actually, man, I actually like the Trackmasters.
Look at he got an infinity phone. Look at him. Look, you see that? You see that smile? That's the smile. It's like somebody brought him a nice one.
Because there's some songs that they did that like I didn't like the stuff that I don't know, man. There's a lot of stuff that's questionable, like all that stuff that they did in the late 2000s or early 2000s, like nah. But like the stuff they did, like the early stuff when they were like the producers for like Bad Boy, when they did like the Super Cat remix and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Dolly My Baby and like
see that kind of stuff.
That was I liked it.
That's the stuff Red Hot Lover Tone when he did his stuff like
their earlier work for me is the best work.
Even the stuff on the Firm, like the Firm albums were good. You know what I mean? The Firm album was good. I just think that it was a sound that people didn't want to hear from them. You know what I mean?
We want that New York sound.
Yeah, that's what you want, man. You want that. You can't beat that New York sound, man.
Yeah, so they wanted to be more they were striving for that Dr. Dre sound.
Yeah, but and the funny thing about the Firm is the group was put together because they want that mafioso top rap. What Raycon was doing, what Kool G Rap was doing. Like 456, I think is an underrated album by Kool G Rap. Yeah, One of Dead or Alive, mafioso rap. That's the style. If you're gonna do mafioso rap, you gotta give us that sound. What they gave us. But what they gave us was polished Drake production, and it clashed with their lyrics. Their style. If you're gonna do mafioso rap, give us the mafioso sound. If you're gonna do Dre, then do something more polished and not mafioso.
And their polished sound was too clean for the streets.
Yeah.
Good for a Mary J. Blige album or you know what I mean, or like something along those lines. But when you start trying to get, like you said, hardcore street rap, like it can't be perfect. And their production for the most part is perfect, man. You know what I mean? Like
the Chronic.
No.
Thoughts on the Chronic?
The Chronic, man, was game changer. I know being from the West and when that happened, it changed the game, man. It completely changed the game. Like it was because I equate the Chronic to the Chronic is the Chronic for Dr. Dre is what Back on the Block was for Quincy Jones. You know what I mean? Like people counted him out. Didn't know where he was, and all of a sudden he hits the scene and he has this album with all these people that he's producing, and it's just, oh man, like, where's this dude been? You know what I mean? Like, and it was a sound you didn't know none of the artists. You know what I mean?
I didn't think people counted him out, mainly because he was actually getting a new start on Death Row Records. He was their first big major artist. I felt like people counted him out after he left Death Row and dropped that mediocre Aftermath album. People was
you talking about? I've been there. I've done that.
Yeah.
I got guns. I got gas.
NWA had broken up. NWA broke up. You had gotten the whole, Ice Cube went to New York and got with Public Enemy and shut down with the whole, he had did what, 3, 2, 3. He did what was it? Ice Cube's first album.
America's Most Wanted.
America's Most Wanted. Then he hit you with the Death Certificate, Kill at Will, all that.
He did, The Predator was his third album.
He did all of that with no response because no NWA. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I feel like Dre still had momentum going into the Chronic. Like he didn't lose momentum because he was a big part of NWA, and that
nobody knew at that time. There was no warning that Death Row existed. There was no warning that he was working on an album. The only thing you had heard prior to that, and after all those albums I listed, was you heard Deep Cover. You heard that one song, and then there was no.
And that song enough right there had people hyped for the Chronic.
Yeah. So then when he dropped that album out of nowhere, and it had Snoop on it, not to mention it had the whole Dog Pound, it had the whole Death Row, and it was on a new label called Death Row. Everybody was like, well, what the hell is this? You know what I mean? Like we were like, oh well, shit, who's Death Row? What's that? You know what I mean? And then when you heard Stranded on Death Row,
I love that song.
Oh my god,
I love that song, man. What's the name? Lady of Rage.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah.
That set it off right there. Everybody was just like, "What? You had Bushwick Bill on there?" They were like, "How did they have Bushwick Bill on there?" You know.
They had not. You talk about the Ghetto Boys, man. They had some really good albums, man.
Yeah,
really good albums that went under the radar. Scarface's first solo album was good.
First two.
Yeah, first two. Yeah, first two. Him and Tupac. I mean, the Tupac and Biggie song.
Yeah.
Scarface was definitely my favorite, but Bushwick Bill was definitely somebody that I always listen to when his lyrics start. Like when Bushwick Bill come on, I'm listening because I know Bushwick gonna drop some knowledge.
Bushwick is like ODB.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I know. The Midwest.
He had all of the knowledge. He wasn't no dummy. You know what I mean? Despite what you thought, he could kick that issue if you needed it to.
That album cover with him in the gurney with Willie D and Scarface. I was like, you can't get no more bolder than that doing that album cover. The man just got shot in the eye, man. And they said, let's do this, take this picture, put it on the album.
That sounds like something I would have photographed. That sounds like something I would have did.
I don't even think I could even do that, man. I'd have been just like, oh, man, I'm glad. Oh, man. Like, yeah, let's take a picture right quick. That's something you do nowadays. You know what I'm saying? Like, just do it for the gram. Let's do it for the gram.
Do it for the gram.
Well, wait, man. My Bone Thugs and Harmony, man.
Oh, man.
I wasn't a huge Bone Thugs fan.
I wasn't a big Bone fan either, man. But I mean, I respect their work. I'll take that back.
Absolutely.
You know what? I liked about 4 or 5 of their cuts, man. I'll take that back. I just wasn't a big mark. Like I had some friends that were absolutely nuts over Bone, and plus at that time you also got to factor in during that time that's when Wu-Tang was at its apex. So I was kind of impartial to just about everything Wu-Tang. So I like a couple of their cuts. As I got older, I started to grow into them.
Yeah, I like the Bone Thugs, but like you said, it took a while for me to really grab. Even though I loved the hell out of Notorious Thugs with Biggie.
Oh yeah.
I love the Tupac song, but Notorious Thugs just hits a different beat for me.
But you know what, Sean? You know why? It's because when you got a chance to see Big adapt to their style.
Yeah.
And that's you would have thought, after listening to him for so long, it was like when you heard him rap on that verse, you were like, oh,
Armed and Dangerous.
Oh, shit. He can do it.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the coolest part about it, man. Was you like, oh man, I know Big get down like that, man.
Yeah, I always dug Twister and Do or Die, so I was.
Oh man, yeah, that.
I heard Bone Thugs, I kind of was like,
Yeah, man, Twister, man, hey, ain't this?
It took Twister a while for him to get the recognition.
Hey man, I remember high school. I remember my second or third day of high school, man. Poe Pimp had dropped, and man, ain't this some shit? Pull up in the C-A. D-I double L double A-C. A-C boy. Bro, I said, who is this dude? And then you heard it, and then you heard him when he dropped his solo album. And I was like, lights out, this dude here is the real deal. That Chicago sound came right on through.
See, but I can appreciate, like I was a fan of the music, so it didn't matter where you were from, as long as I could dig what you was kicking and how you sound. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like It didn't. I just thought, honestly, like, I thought that they were, like you said, Sean, it took me a while to listen to them and understand that they were their own dudes, because at the time, I thought that they were, like, biting, but they had talent, and I was just like, they're biting Crucial Conflict, or they're biting, there was they're biting somebody, you know what I mean? But then,
how many people bit the style of Dawes Effect?
Everybody.
A lot of folks, man.
A lot of people bit the style of
folks, man, was just
Dawes
like,
Effects.
I mean, they put them out of business.
It did, because it's like you look up and Dawes Effects is like hot, and then all of a sudden you don't even hear from them. You're like, where did they go?
It's like their first two albums, people was checking for them, and then afterwards they just said, "Oh, Dawes Effect's old now."
Yeah.
But that's how quick it was back then, Sean. Back then, man, if you had to drop a hit after hit after hit after hit after hit after hit. Otherwise, you out the door. You gone, man.
And I think
same thing.
Back
Go
then,
ahead.
the record labels wanted everybody to be huge artists, and there wasn't enough room for everybody to be huge artists, but there was enough room for everybody to be artists. You know what I mean? Like, you could fly under the radar and garner a following, whereas you could be successful on an independent status, whereas on the majors you had to get one of those slots. You know what I mean? And it wasn't. And Dawes Effects had those slots their first two albums, and then after that the slots got filled. And
it's almost similar to Lords of the Underground. They came out with Funky Child. That was major. That was huge. Yeah. And then the second album, which I think is solid, the second album was really good, but they got no play because there was no Funky Child on that album.
Yeah. Because you fall victim to, where's your Funky Child? Where's Funky Child for this album? You know what I mean? Like, they want that. You know what I mean? And to me, it's like,
hey, just give me a solid album, man. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
Let me be able to sell it. Like, if
hey, man,
10 CDs, are they gonna sell? That's all I care about.
Free key down there. I see you, buddy. Hey, man, I'm a Mystical too, man. That was a cat. Hey, he got locked up because it's like, as soon as he got good, he got locked up. I was like,
they killed.
How do you mess your career up like that, man?
Yeah, they killed his momentum, huh?
Killed all of it, man. Hey, I tell you somebody. I don't think we brought up last show. Keith Murray.
Most beautifulest thing in this world is just like that.
Yeah, man. That was another cat got in trouble. You like, man.
See, the thing with this is like, these people, we put them on pedestals, man, and they're people, they're normal people. A lot of these brothers had substance abuse problems that we didn't know about then. You know what I mean?
DMX.
Yeah, a lot of them, man. And the success, when they got successful, you saw the effects, man, because they could never get right. And Keith Murray was one of them, man. I think I just seen his mug shot the other day, man. Looking like he was fresh out of the crack house.
That's sad, man.
Yeah, man. So it's like
Keith Murray was dope as hell, man. Yeah. Him and Def Squad.
Def
Squad album was hot. That El Nino.
Yeah.
I played the hell out of that album.
That album right there, boy. I mean, I'm telling you, man. If Eric Sermon ain't the man, I don't know who is, because he can't tell me he must have a house full of plaques, like just one house that just got nothing but plaques on the wall. You know what I'm saying? Because every song he did for these people was a hit.
Yeah.
Every song, man. I've never, even his sparse, stripped down songs are good. Like that song he got with Too Short, Buy You Some.
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's just him playing the guitar.
Yeah.
And that is one of the hottest songs that he done ever put out. But I'm saying, like, he is just a hit maker, man. And I don't understand, like, how you can say somebody like that.
And Jace brought up Lost Boys, man.
Yeah, when you talk about Lords of the Underground, I was sitting here trying to think of what was that group? Yeah, Lost Boys. That's it. Mercedes Benz.
That first album was fucking fire. It had so many hit songs.
Peeps, Lex, Coupe, Beamer, and the Benz.
Yeah, man. Renee and all that.
Yeah. Yeah, that album was
Shorty Renee. Shorty Renee.
That was the album that had your boy on it. That had
Rest in peace to Freaky Ty.
The second one, the Love, Peace, and Happiness, had the debut of your boy Cannabis Terrible.
Oh yeah, man. Pre Wyclef.
Yeah, pre
tearing up tracks.
Yeah, killing.
You saw what I tagged. Y'all saw what I tagged y'all in this week. Y'all saw it.
So I was rolling when I seen that post. I was rolling, man. I was at work and I just started cracking up.
Hey, I said it's terrible, but at the same time, that Mummy's Alive, it works for that video, man.
Right. I was like, this boy, we got some old Calypso shit with Canada.
Oh shit!
You know that's that man that they could not get that you know, and it's ridiculous that the Fugees couldn't get their egos in check to release the second album. I was just like,
the score was the second album
or third album, but I mean,
well, yeah, you know what? You're right. You have a point.
That first album was garbage.
Yeah, that first album was awful.
I forgot about the first album. Yeah,
I would listen to the first album.
I don't even consider the first album. I don't even consider it a part of history.
No, that's that record used to be in the 50 cent bins at the record store.
50 cent bin at the comic book store.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'd be digging for records and that shit would be marked down so many times, man. They just trying to get rid of it. That was a terrible album, man. And then they had that one song that got remixed, I think, and that just kind of got them the second one.
And then they come out with a cut on the we were once kings. We were kings album, the soundtrack. Yeah, and that was like, okay, they feel trying to make a comeback. Never heard from them again. Nope.
I remember that album. What was that significance of that album? That one was that for? It was from what was that?
The Muhammad Ali fight.
Yeah, Muhammad Ali. That's right.
Yeah. Yep. And that soundtrack was pretty good. Oh, Mike Geronimo. Jesus Christ. Mike Geronimo.
Dude, I remember going a whole summer trying to find out who that was. I was like, that one song was that I'm so high, you so
yeah. I posted that song one day for Old School Hip Hop.
Man, I was trying to find that song, man. It took me forever to find out who that was, man. And then I remember Cash Money Click came out.
Yeah.
Rule and a couple other people, and then it was that song, and then there was the Mike Geronimo, and they had both of them. I'm like, finally. Yeah, that was when I actually liked Ja Rule, man. That was when it was.
Hey, shit is real, man.
Yeah. Shit is real, yeah.
And then you got Time to Build, which featured Murder Inc., Ja Rule, Jay-Z, and DMX.
Yeah. Time to Build, yeah. That's when you get truly outshined on your own track.
Didn't mind it then. I mean, them guys came and brought the fire. Trying to find here it is. Royal Flush, since he brought it up.
Royal Flush. Man, you see album cover like that back in the day, you knew you was for the win. You see them kind of album covers, man, you knew you was about to win when you picked that up. You're like, yeah, this gonna be some fire here, man.
First track alone will catch you on fire, man. I'll be making so much money all the time. Yeah, it was a solid album, man. Beat Miners on production on some of these tracks, man. Moving on Weak production, that shit fire.
Giants.
I love that album. Another one I have. Oh yeah, you mentioned this earlier.
Yeah, that's the one, man. That's the one right there. That's the one that, man. I was in I think 9th grade, man, when that came out. And I love that album, man. I used to play that out.
Then
in my Sony Sports Walkman.
Oh yeah, that's it, man.
Yes,
Do you want more? Yeah.
Proceed.
Philadelphia.
Yeah, man.
They don't make them like that no more, man. They don't make them like that no more, man.
Just think about it. At that time, man, we had so much variety.
Yeah.
Choose from. Like I was saying before, man, there was something for everybody, and everybody didn't listen to the same stuff. you had even friends in your own crew that didn't all listen to the same stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
No, man. Because I had a homeboy. I had one homeboy that was in the bone and all that stuff. I had another cat that listened to a little something. Xavier, we kind of listened to the same thing. And which is the one that put me on to Dylan and all them. So it was
right.
like you start pulling from everybody, and you're like,
exactly.
oh man, what you listening to, man? Oh, I'm listening to this. And then you come to school, man. You get somebody a tape, like, man, take that home, check that out, man.
Exactly.
And then you get it, like I can't let me borrow his Helter Skelter cassette, man. And that's when I fell in love with Boot Camp Click, man. I was like, this is it, man. This is it. That Nocturnal album was good, man.
Yeah, buddy. That one was a good one, man. I remember
that Therapy song. I can't think of the name. I think it's Therapy. I can't think of the name of it, man. Yeah. That cut down, man.
Talking about the girl and shit.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a good album, man. That's what I'm saying. Like you said, they don't make them like they used to.
I just hated that Boot Camp went away from the Beat Miners when they did the Boot Camp album, man.
Never understood that. I never understood that.
That's an example of what I was talking about earlier. When we were talking last show about Outkast. That sound, when you move away from production that got you to where you at, it's hard. Now, and I know this has nothing to do with hip hop, but both of y'all are jazz heads. It's like Boney James. Boney James left Paul Brown, and when he left Paul Brown, that was it. It's just like you don't have that same type sound anymore. And so that sound that you have going now is an experimental sound. You're hoping that sound sounds good. And of course, when you got a bunch of people around you that yes men, they're gonna say, "Oh yeah, this is fire, man. This is fire." But then when you put it out there to the masses, now you subjected to us, and we know what you sound like.
Yeah, we
I do like some of Boney James' work after he left. I mean, he had some pretty good music, but before it was better when he had the original sound.
Yeah. So
but saying, like, to that point though, that's what you're known for.
Yeah.
You don't want someone to deviate from, you know what I mean? Like, if it's like we said before, Michael Jackson, when you get away from what got you where you at, you're gonna keep your fans, but it's easier to fall off the top also.
Yeah, I mean, Mike, a lot of that Blood on the Dance Floor album, man. Hey man. That rough, boy. That Blood on the Dance Floor album rough. And he's like, Mike, I want to try something. We like, no, bro, don't try that no more, man. Don't try that no more. Classic Mike, go with the classic Mike. Yeah.
That low, right?
Yeah, man. You have to stick with what got you to the dance, man.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is a guy who never changed. KRS-One was dropping them. And then and MCs act like they don't know in 1994, boy.
That album being produced by DJ Premier, first album he produced outside of Gangstar, was that album right there, man. When that album came out, man, I didn't know what I was getting into. Like, because like I said, it wasn't like everybody knew, you know what I mean? There was no social media. So you could only read like the source or whatever. And I remember the source gave it like 4 mics, I want to say. And they said it was Premier's production. And we ran to the record store.
And 4 mics back then was like, 4 mics back then was kind of like, you kind of sit back like, you just kind of scratch it like, let me see what this is about.
Exactly.
If you ever saw that dreaded 2.5, you was in trouble, boy.
I see 3 mics. I'm like, that's a sample. I see 4 mics. I'm like, it's a purchase.
Yeah.
Because I know 4 mics is still a solid album.
Yeah. 3.5 was my cutoff, but I had bought albums that were like 2.5, 3 mics that were actually fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, and that's when I started to question their whole.
Yeah.
But
that KRS album was the truth though. That was a real good album, man.
But when I stopped with the Source was in the 2000s when they gave Little Kim the album that she put out around that time. Can't remember what it was. They gave her 5 mics, and I'm sitting there like they gave Little Brothers the Minstrel Show 4 mics, And that album was way better than
Oh yeah,
Lil' Kim.
I stopped reading Source by then. I was done with him by then.
Yeah, I stopped reading the Source when they had that whole fiasco with
Eminem.
Yeah, and Eminem and all them. Like I stopped.
I wasn't reading it by that point, but I would still like pick up on the occasional issue. But I remember when I saw that shit, I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" And I remember that's what led to, because Benzino and the manager, they did not want to give Little Brother 5 mics, and this was during the time when Little Brother was being disrespected by BET, saying their music is too intelligent, but yet they got BET Uncut playing all these booty shaking videos.
Hey, man,
Crazy, man.
Long live BET Uncut, bro.
Hey, you talking about the naked truth? You talking the naked truth?
Yeah, but
That trash. Yeah, I know you talking. Yeah, that trash. 5 mics. Get out of here, man.
Yeah, that album was terrible. That was garbage, man. I don't understand how she don't even write her stuff. So how can she get 5 mics? Like, I don't know.
That made no sense, man. I was like, and to me, that Minstrel Show album was just one of the best albums I listened to that year.
Yeah, no, that album was hard.
And the fact that BET disrespected it, saying too intelligent, I was like, come on, man. Y'all just that's when I was done with BET.
Oh man, BET, man, you know, it started. Rap City started getting real bad, man.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Rap City was horrible. What happened?
Yeah, I personally, I think after Fat Joe, I mean, I could deal with Tigger the first few seasons. Then after a while, you know, he started slacking. I was like, man, this is.
I stopped watching the Rap City when Joe Claire left.
Yeah, Joe Clay had a good ear for hip hop, man. And you could tell songs that he had an influence on getting them to that top 10. You could tell them.
Yeah,
I watched a videotape. Somebody lent me a videotape of early Rap City, like 94, 95, and there was a variety of hip hop. It wasn't just about the mainstream. Song. You know, they played variety, man. You got Boogie Monsters. You had the Doobies. You had the Funk Doobies. You had World Renown. World Renown got played. People don't even World Renown. I always try to promote their music because that was one of them unsung acts in the 90s that don't get no play. But they got play on Rap City.
Yeah, that was when the mayor was Chris Thomas, right? Thomas. That was my dude, man. Man. When he was on Night of Living Bassheads, remember?
Nice and Little Bassheads.
He was a newscaster on there.
Didn't talk about Naughty.
Solid group, man. All the albums are fire.
Yeah. They had some. The thing about Naughty was they made catchy hip hop acceptable. You know, they did Hip Hop Array, they did OPP. Those are mainstream catchy hip hop, but at the same time, it was solid.
And they never sold out.
Yeah.
The Stretch was still body.
Exactly. You know, Stretch came lyrically correct on those songs. And you know, it wasn't like he was spitting mainstream lyrics or nothing like that. Nah, he came correct on that shit.
He came correct.
I remember when I first saw the video to Everything Is Gonna Be Alright, Ghetto Bastard, I was like, yo, that's some real tough shit right there. That video go hard.
Yeah, that album, that whole song, man. That song is hard.
Hey, man, you know, I see somebody say something about Chris Cross. Their second album wasn't that bad, man. With Jermaine Dupri, the one that Jermaine Dupri produced.
He did all that.
Yeah, he did all.
He did both of them.
Yeah, he did the first.
Yeah, he was the one that put them out.
I knew you found it, but I just never even thought to put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah.
He put out them. He put out the Brat.
Yeah. That their second album was hard too.
But yeah, the Brat, man. Oh, I remember that too, man. The Brat album was dope.
Who was that sample? That's not Cool in the Gang. Who is that? Was Grover Washington?
Talk about another one that put out a great first album, and then their second album, I'm guessing the industry changed them to like, you need to do a more street album, and that's the UMCs.
Oh man,
Blue Cheese.
Golly, I hadn't heard that name in a long time, man.
Now, they were They were Wu affiliates, weren't they?
No, I don't think so.
No.
No.
They were just from
They were
Staten
part of Wild Pitch.
Yeah.
But they were from Staten Island, though, right?
Yeah.
I thought.
Oh, we
I
got
think
Fresh Princess in the house. What's up?
So the dude from the UMCs, so the guy on UMCs who produces the two, like the one of them produces, he did the song on Supreme Clientele, the Iron Man song, the one where he's with the fur coat in the video.
Yeah. Shake like ghost.
No. The one
You said spring. This is spring clientele. No, let me think.
with the
We make dog.
Yeah, he did that one. That's why I always thought he was.
No, that's not Shay Let Go. That's what you call it. That's Apollo Kid.
Apollo
Yeah.
Kid.
Yeah.
UMCs was like, I think they were part of. They felt they tried to have them be like KMD.
Yeah, when they first came out, them and KMD, it was like similar. Yeah. But you look at they suffered the same thing that Souls of Misfits suffered from, and that's put out a second album completely different from the first, much more street oriented, darker, and confuses their audience because they're like they wanted more of this, and instead what they got was dark street songs, and that was like nah.
Yeah. Because I think that's more so, like you said, it's like the label wants you to come out, crisp and clean the first time, and then you fight to be able to come out how you want, and then they say, okay, go ahead, we'll let you put out an album how you want, but we're not gonna promote it.
Exactly, and that's the easiest way to get cut from the label.
Exactly.
Yep.
What it is. Oh, you don't want to take our advice? Okay, go ahead, and we're gonna make sure
put it out. Yeah, it's like, well, I can't wait to get out this label. Then if you're gonna not do that,
So I know for Souls, when that happened, they were happy to go because they had already went gold, so they had all of that promotion behind them, so they could go and do whatever it was they wanted to do, and
have to have it.
They would have all that promotion. So Ed O.G.'s first album was a classic. Second one was classic, and all his solo albums, man, were pretty good, man. I like Ed O.G.
I think The Truth Hurts is his best solo album.
Yeah.
I still bump that to this day. But, some albums could be hit or miss for me.
Yeah.
But, they're not, like, considered whack.
Yeah.
Like, I still enjoy them.
Got some solid songs, man.
What's up, NB4 Pack? Definitely follow this guy on Instagram. Has a great vinyl collection, posts great music, old school, straight old school music and some modern. But definitely give him a follow on Instagram. Now I know you remember this, Reemo.
Yes, sir.
Criminal Scientific.
I got that on vinyl.
This one of those albums that when I used to purchase stuff from undergroundhiphop.com.
Yeah.
Man. Undergroundhiphop.com. Good
bro,
God.
I still got a bunch of their mixtapes that I get when I purchase something over $50 and they send you a free promotional mixtape. Yeah. I still be all them suckers, man.
It be in your cart. You go, oh shit, what's this?
You get them greatest hits like mixtapes.
Yes,
shit. I still got the Superstition one.
Yo, Superstition was hard.
Superstition, dope as fuck, man. I fucks with him.
Yeah, he was hard. All his stuff he did on Little Brother albums, man, all that shit was always hard.
Yeah, then like with his production with Nicolay.
Yeah.
Bro, Nicolay, man. Oh yeah, boy, Nicolay. That's a man. Foreign exchange.
Foreign exchange, man. I got that right here. Right here, the Foreign Exchange first album.
Yep, that's it, man. That's it.
Don't get me started on the Justice League, man, because I got plenty of Justice League stuff, man, because that's what got me back into hip hop. And we got Al joining us.
Yeah, Justice League, man.
I fucks with him.
There he is.
Yeah, like,
Yeah, man. Yeah, Nicolay, man. With Seventh Wonder, all of it's about like Sean. It's about how it was for me, man. When I started hearing that stuff, I was like, okay, we starting to get a little taste of what it used to sound like back, man.
We cooking with grease.
his second album. This is when he did the song with Nicolay that I still got on my phone. I need to post one day. This was another dope album with Kazi and Ninth Wonder.
Yeah.
Ninth Wonder did some of the remixes too.
I remember. I don't think I heard that. I used to always see it, but I don't think I heard that one.
Definitely check it out.
The Static Selector.
Yep.
Is that who it
Static
was?
Select. Huh?
Oh, Static Selector did production on that album?
No. He just
No.
brought up Static Select.
That was another one. That was another one of the producers that I told you, man. You get a couple of guys coming out. You get flashes of what we grew up on. You get flashes of it, But these guys never make mainstream because of, they ain't in the trap, man.
Here's that Ghostface Killing Trife the God CD I got. Put it on the line.
Yeah. See, that's the one I was thinking about when you were talking about the Theodore kids. I knew the albums kind of looked similar.
It's the Theodore.
Yeah, that's it. That's the one. Yeah, that's the one I know.
That one,
718.
Yeah.
See,
Capadonna as far as that.
Represent.
Man, I got all these CDs, and this is just like a fraction of
all
my shit.
CDs are at my mom's house, man. They're in my storage at my mom's house.
Well, even though this is the Lake album, Cormega.
That was a good album, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good album.
But man, Cormega's one of those guys that he another one that always dropped a solid album.
Yeah. I mean, you got to think, guys back then, man, they were clawing to get to the top. It was hard, man. Bro, it was a gauntlet trying to get through those guys back in the day, man, trying to break through the crowd.
He did that album with who was it, man? Ayatollah. The Cormega and Ayatollah album.
This is another one. What is this CD? Bumpy Knuckles. This is a mixtape.
Yep. That's another one.
Bumpy Nut, man.
Hard, man. That song he did with KRS-One on that last Boogie Down production album, that shit go hard.
Did we mention Mobb Deep last week? On last one, did we mention Mobb Deep?
We mentioned them, but we ain't really talk about them.
Didn't talk about them.
Hey, I felt that. Hey, man, I felt Reemo. I felt that. You felt that in your bones, then, boy. You can just tell you, like, man, Mobb Deep, man.
Talk
Deep.
about it, man. Mobb Deep, man. That's
the infamous
Shook
ones.
When you were talking about that show, The Breaks.
Yeah.
That shit gave me Mobb Deep vibes through the whole thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like how it was forming. You know what I'm saying? Like, because they were both street. Like, dude wasn't all that. They could have made him a little harder, but the rapper dude that he ended up linking up with, like, that dude was hard, man.
Yeah. And
then all the raps were on that show were written by dude from Little Brother.
Fonte,
yeah. Fonte did all the raps. So, yeah, that show was, man, I was so mad. They kept saying they were going to put it on, like BET or something, man. Like,
yeah, it sucked that they canceled that shit, man, because that brought back, I mean, Method Man playing the father that hated hip-hop.
Right? But then, remember it was he was producing the dude on the low, but then he had the girl. Remember, he took the girl to the record label. Her mom took her to the record label.
Yeah.
It was Tiana Taylor. Remember?
Yeah. She was on that show.
Yeah, it was about to be, or it was the black girl took Tiana Taylor to the label and got her a deal. And then, I was ready, man. That show was about to be hard.
Got the Wooden Nickels and, man, Cesar Comanche. And I got
you got all Justice League right here.
Man.
And you hit your little Justice League honey hole right there.
Yeah.
Oh man, like I said, man, it was them that got me back into really loving hip hop again. I'll credit Jay-Z for having Ninth Wonder produce Threat on the Black album, because that was one of my favorite songs on that album. So that led me to dig up some Ninth Wonder tracks, and then I see Little Brother, I see the Kazi album, I see all this stuff, and that's when I started purchasing from underground hip hop. And bro, you don't want to know the amount of money I spent, man.
Man, I had a cat, man, when I was working in the school system, man. Dude I used to work with, man, came up to me because Little Brother actually kind of got past me, and he was like, "Hey, man, you need to check these dudes out." I was like, "Who, man?" He was like, "Little Brother." I was like, "All right, check it out." And he brought that minstrel show, man.
Minstrel show.
Yeah, I was like, "Yep, I'm sold." I was like, "I'm sold."
What got me back on when I started buying Ninth Wonder stuff, I brought Chitlin Circuit, the mixtape.
Yeah, that was the other one.
Yeah. I was hooked from the beginning going forward. That song with Big Daddy Kane, Welcome to Durham, and the song with. Go ahead.
What's the one that's the mixtape they did that was it was, I want to say it was after Chitlin's Circuit. It was
Separate but Equal.
Yes.
Separate but Equal.
The DJ.
Yeah. Yo, the song where he destroyed, where he called BET Black Embarrassment Television.
Yes.
That shit had me rolling.
Yo, that album was hard, man.
That shit went hard. Then you had the song with Sky Zoo, Speed Racing. Bro, man, it made me fall in love with hip hop again. That's when I just started buying all shit from undergroundhiphop.com.
I'm trying to think of the other one. There was undergroundhiphop.com, and then there was you remember Sandbox Automatic?
Yeah.
Sandbox Automatic. And then there was one out of Vegas. What was it called? And they had the blog on there too. It was like a blog, and you could buy music.
Then I was buying mixtapes from J Love, a producer from New York.
Yeah, J Love shit is hard.
Yeah, I got like a whole bunch of these motherfuckers, man. Like
because he would do like original mixtapes, like he do the beats, and then he had all their vocals. And
man, that was an era of hip hop, that man. When you get the mixtapes, man, a lot of dark, man.
Yeah.
The Jay-Z Top of the Game.
Yeah, that one he did with Coogee Rap, the
Nas's Finest.
That was dope.
And some of these had some exclusive tracks.
Yeah.
Mob Misses.
Yeah.
I was buying a whole bunch of shit, man. I was like, I'm falling into this trap of buying mixtapes and shit, and I fell in love with hip hop again. Hey, we need to hear Al, man. Al, you haven't talked.
Al over there jamming, man. He jamming. He got on some Tribe Called Quest over there. I know what he's doing.
Oh, he ain't trying to get us copyrighted, man. He got that good music playing.
No, I wasn't gonna play, but like a quick second. I was listening to "Watch Me" by Little Brother. That's like my favorite track off of that minstrel show. And ironically enough, Crisis actually did the track. Ninth Wonder didn't even do it, but I saw a video. Well, good evening, everybody. First and foremost, I had to work. That's why I'm late. But anyway, yeah, man. I watched the video of Crisis actually chopping down that sample. It was actually a Michael Jackson song, which I did not know. And the way he actually put that thing together, that fascinates me, man, how a lot of producers can actually find a sample, chop it up, and then just totally rearrange it to make it seem like it's just a whole totally different, like for example, when Pete Rock took that Ahmad Jamal and made The World Is Yours. That dude, man, did some serious work, man. And that kind of stuff is really fascinating to me, man. Like, I've gotten to a point now to where I actually, like we talked about the last show, I actually just go look for like any of my favorite hip hop songs. I look for the original and I'll just listen to the song, man, and be like, golly, man, you gotta have like a really serious ear for music. You know, I remember back in the days, man, you know, when hip hop actually really started gaining prominence, you had people talking, man, that ain't no music, this, that, and the third. But man, just the whole concept of just putting, especially if you're like one of those like the producers that dig in the crates and sample a lot of stuff, man, just to put yourself in a position where when I hear this, I hear something different. You know what I'm saying? So it'll be totally different. Like Sucker Nigga from A Tribe Called Quest. I'm like, okay, so they actually put about 3 or 4 songs together to make that one song. And I thought the sample, before I knew where the main sample came from, I thought it was part of the same, like everything in the song. I thought they just sampled it from like one song, but that ain't the case. Man, hip hop, man, is a very intricate art, man. And it's like,
yeah,
I was listening to y'all, man, while I was on the thing, while I was working and stuff, and I was like, man, y'all just conjured up so many memories of cats that I used to listen to, and then some of my homies used to listen to, because I got 2 buddies, man. They actually DJ with like turntables, and you know they had records for days. And I remember we going up to Atlanta to Little 5 Points, man, and there was this record store that we used to go to all the time, and I bought a few records. I was more the musician out of the crew than anything, but I bought a few records. But man, it's like kids nowadays, man, unless their parents grew up in that time frame, they missing out, man. Because that was a time, man, where we just had awesome music. And Matt had brought up something earlier in the show where he was talking about how, you know, back in the day, man, you buy a CD or you buy an album or something, and just the anticipation of listening to that particular artist, especially if it was artists that you were checking for, because you know back then internet wasn't what it was or what it is right now. So you had a lot of buzz. You remember? I know y'all remember the little promo tape that came out that had like snippets of stuff that was on it. I mean, they don't see that now. I mean, technology kind of like screwed that up. But I mean, even still, just the whole aura of hip hop music, especially back in the late 80s, mid to late 90s, man, was just amazing. I asked somebody the other day, I said, have y'all ever heard of Jack the Rapper? What is that? Like, man, that was like the convention for like hip hop artists and stuff. And you know, I said that was where they would go before you had the invention of Spotify and
Napster.
Napster. Well, not really Napster, but you know, SoundCloud, those types of apps where you would actually you would go to one of those and you have your crew or your mixtape and stuff like that, or you were ready to drop a 16 right down the drop of a dime. That's one thing that I hated, because they used to have them up in Atlanta, and I had the opportunity to go to one of them, but I didn't. Now, you know, I hate that now, but man, I was just, you know, listening to y'all, man. And listening to Little Brother. So basically, y'all just took me back for about 5-6 minutes for a quick minute and brought me back to 2020, you know. But it's all gravy though, man. It's all gravy.
But you know what, man? Al hit on something there that when we were talking about Ninth Wonder is, you know, back in the day, man, cats used to have, like, the work that they would do to put a track together. It's like Q-Tip would start tapes to create, you know, parts of the song. And like, you know, we talked about this last show. It's just like now it's just so easy for somebody to go buy a beat pack, you know. In a sense, I mean, it's cool for some of those older guys to be able to come into technology and make their life a little bit easier. But you know, it's they don't have that tried and true method of actually building from the ground up. Is what I'm saying.
The art form, man, is it was there, man. I mean, as far as it goes, like I said, man, it took some insane creativity, man, to create a lot of the classic hip hop that we know about now. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, you know, a lot of them cats paid the price, like the anthem for New York. I mean, I know New York got about 10,000 anthems, but Peter Guns and Lord Tariq. Steely Dan, man, they took them jokers to town, man, over the Uptown anthem. But I mean, you know, it's still a dope track. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's like kids, man. Unless, like I said, you got parents that, you know, like Reemo. I'm pretty sure Reemo hip his folks to any of the hip hop back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Why you looking like that, Reemo? Like you shocked?
My wife is watching this Fenty fashion show right now.
No, y'all heard about that today
Like,
on
yeah,
Facebook, man.
God.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah.
What you,
Touching my pearls. Like,
dude? You look terrified just then. Like I said something that offended your ancestors, man. Like yeah,
like, good Lord.
Jesus.
Sweet baby Jesus.
I'm like, Lord. But yeah,
Jumping Jehoshaphat.
yeah, you kicking the real though, Al. No, for real. No, it's like that. It's real.
It's crazy, man. I just appreciate that time, man. And I don't care what nobody say, man. I know a lot of people are very impartial and biased to the era that they grew up in, man. But
Yeah.
I grew up in an era where hip hop it started and it pretty much evolved into a beautiful art form. Because you know when hip hop first started, you know the media in the music insiders was saying that it wasn't gonna last, that it was just a fad.
Yeah, they
you
wanted
know,
to say it's gonna fail.
right?
See whatsoever. They didn't want. They had one.
No parts of it. Just like that, and that was akin to black exploitation back in the day. But when they started seeing that Dolomite was making money in the box office, then they wanted a piece of the pie. And that was the same thing with hip hop, man. Same thing with hip hop.
I think hip hop though, if they were smart, like the record industry, this would be the only genre that you would continue to keep physical copies of. You know what I mean? Like put out vinyl, like they still put some CDs out. Like you can do that and have tangible product that will sell. Like you could put out 1 million of copies of everything and it would sell out completely. If that's your base and you want to make just, you want to sell 1 million copies, that way everybody eats and then live off of the streams, like you will sell 1 million copies physical of everything if you put it out.
You know what I would love to see, man? I would love to see, and I mean, I know it's going to happen ultimately, and I know Matt he made mention of this the last show, man, but I would really like to see just a complete revival of hip hop as we knew it. And not only just some of the old OGs or old school cats, man, that's still in the game, but a lot of the younger cats, man. I like to see more collaborations with cats like Big Crit and Outkast if they ever come back and do an album. You know what I'm saying? Nas and J. Cole. I would like to see that kind of thing come in because the market for the music is still there. But unfortunately, right now, the market for mainstream is so permeated with that shit that dumb you down and it burn your brain cells every time you listen to it. It's like you have to keep the underground right now is more important than ever when it comes down to hip hop at this point. Because, without at least back when we were coming up in the 90s, if you were corny, but everybody had their own lane. Everybody had the ability, like, yeah, man, that's Skilo, that Joker, man, he weak as shit. But I do like I Wish. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't gonna lie, I like the song.
I did
you
too.
know what was the big thing back then was that if you sold out, you considered that you whack. Rappers made a lot of songs talking about never selling out. You had EPMD did Crossover. They never cross over, and it was one of their biggest hits. The Crossover. We talked about the Bush Babies. Yeah. We talked about how it's all about hip hop. They not about the whackness. And a lot of rappers always said we never gonna do that because we strictly for the underground, we strictly for the streets, we strictly for hip hop. And that all changed when Puff Daddy came to the equation and brought in the shiny. He brought in that shiny suit era, and then from that point forward, you saw every rapper with gold chains. All the vehicles and the cars, money flashing in the videos and stuff. Hip hop just went mainstream and never turned around.
Yeah. Nope, it's fast forward right through a brick wall.
But I think it can. I think if the dust ever settles and we're able to get shows and concerts and festivals again, I think you're gonna see a renewed interest in artists actually wanting to tour. You know what I mean? Like, because they know first off, there's gonna be so many people wanting to tour because they have missed out on all kinds of money. But you're gonna have a lot more, where it's multiple groups going out on the road. You know what I mean? It ain't gonna just be like your club dates where it's like 150 tickets and you only get a couple of small groups. Like, you're gonna start seeing the venues sell out and it's gonna be multiple groups.
But you know what though, Reemo? And I'm with that, man. But the crazy part is, man, you got cats like De La Soul and Camp Low, man. They go overseas and sell out huge auditoriums.
But that's what I mean. I think that's gonna start happening here on our soil.
Okay, gotcha.
Like you're gonna start seeing those festivals come back, like your Smoking Grooves and stuff like that, because all the ones for the young kids sell out, like these what's it called, Rolling Loud and all that. Now think about if it was a Rolling Loud, but it had like a Tribe Called Quest, it had Daylight, it had
Black Sheep,
just all the groups that are from our era. You know what I'm saying? Naughty by Nature. You've had your couple artists from the Woo, you know what I mean? Like a almost like what's it called? Shoot. The one they had a few years ago, Rock the Bells, like Rock the Bells used to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they need to bring that back.
Man, I think like, you'll get that, man. Yeah, these cats, they hurting so bad for money, man. We're gonna see collaborations that we probably thought we'd never see, man.
Yeah.
But see, this is the thing, y'all.
It shouldn't have to come to that, though.
This is the thing, check. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Reemo. Go ahead.
No. I was just agreeing with Matt. Like, it shouldn't have had to come down to that, to where that would make them have to, want to do a show like that. But it's gonna happen because you got new cats like your Mustards and your Roddy Riches and all that. They can't get no money either.
True.
I mean? Like, so they gonna have to hit the road with whoever they can go out on the road with.
But see, this is the thing. This to me, and y'all get this when I say it. This right here is a testament to the fact that 90s hip hop, late 80s hip hop, and 80s and 90s R&B is still relevant today.
Oh, yeah.
Whenever you see these award shows and they have like a special guest appearance from an artist from the 80s and 90s, typically from the ones that I've seen, those particular segments of those shows would be the highlight of the show.
Yeah.
When they had Naughty by Nature on one, I can't remember, and they did a medley of their songs. Everybody, and when I mean everybody, because I watched clips of the actual event, they had like a hot artist that came out recently. Yeah, you had some people in the crowd. They were like, doing their thing, dancing. Yeah. But when Naughty by Nature came out and they did OPP, when they did Hip Hop Parade, when they did the other one, Uptown Anthem. They did that. Man, the crowd went ape shit. I've seen with Life's a Bitch with AZ.
Yeah. The
crowd went nuts. I remember when Guy, after them breaking up, like after 98 times, Teddy Riley, Damon, and Aaron, they were on BET that year. And everybody in the crowd was just like, they were going ham. So that lets you know, man, that there is still a market for that music from that era, man. Because I'm going to be honest with you, and I'm not trying to sound like I'm old as dirt, even though I'm almost old as dirt. But from an unbiased and a biased point of view, the music that we grew up on, man, was just, it was phenomenal. I'm just being real. That music was like, let me think about it. And I'm going to be done. I'm trying to catch up. But if you just showed all them tapes of artists that a lot of people don't know nothing about, and those are dope artists that you showed, that was the testament to the 90s, man, for hip hop, for R&B. There was so much talent. Like Matt said, there was so much talent to be heard. a lot of people didn't hear it. A lot of stuff I'm just now learning about, like the group that you told us about the last time that was in prison. I never knew about them cats.
Like,
you know what I'm saying? I never knew about them cats until that particular show. So that shows me that the barrel, the depth of music at that point from the late 80s to like the upper mid 90s, bro, can't nothing touch it. Nothing.
You know what, man? If you want a testament of how important 90s and 80s music was, hip hop, R&B, look no further than what we saw with these versus battles.
Yeah, that was exactly what I was going
yes.
Yeah.
I
mean, these numbers are astronomical. That tells me that people want to hear good music.
Mm-hmm.
That Patti LaBelle.
Yeah.
And
Gladys Knight.
God, man, I watched that thing from beginning to end. First of all, Patti LaBelle was hilarious in that.
Yeah, she was true.
He is gonna shake a fool for not putting the lyrics up there. I was like, oh no, don't piss off Aunt Patty now. But man, the vibe, just the music they was going through, and just you singing along with them, it's just like you can't recapture that with today's music.
Nope.
Because it doesn't have that long lasting appeal that their music have. Their music from the 60s to the 90s still to this day is more listenable than anything that came out over the last 10 years.
I even do you one better, Pup. Anita Baker. She got what, 2 albums?
Yes.
She got what, 2 albums? 3 albums, see? And all her stuff is fire, and she don't even tour.
Boy,
she got to.
She done
bro.
she did a last tour like last year, and me and my wife was pissed because we missed it.
I'm glad you did too. Hey, I'm glad you did too. I'm glad you did too, Reemo.
Huh?
I'm glad you missed it too.
The curse of Reemo, man.
You know what? I'm gonna tell you something, Reemo. I ain't no hater, but I'm gonna have to jump on that bandwagon, man. Because, bro, Anita Baker and Sade. Man, hold on. How about I seen a video with it was on Instagram, man. It was Sade and Alicia Keys, right? I ain't never seen Sade do a duet with nobody.
Yeah.
You never saw that video before?
I ain't never seen that up until that day.
Yeah, it was a surprise. She surprised me.
Dude. I'm talking about the comments. They actually had to turn the comments off because they were roasting Alicia Keys so bad. Just like, you don't need to be up there. You can't sing, Alicia Keys. Alicia Keys, shut up. Alicia Keys, you make me sick for abusing that song. It's like, man, I'm telling you, man, it's like that music, man, is timeless, man. I would take They Reminisce over you over anything that's come out from Lil Z, Lil Zane, Lil Bobo,
Lil Floozy.
Lil Silverhands, whatever. I mean, it's just
Lil Kane the Conqueror.
Lil Kane the Conqueror. Lil Colossal. Lil Sinister. You know what I'm saying? Lil Donald. Lil Goku. You know what I'm saying? Lil Skull Cap. I mean, all them Lils, man.
All them Lils, man.
Throw them in the trash. And ain't no disrespect because they have a market, man. But and it's crazy because you see a lot of these videos. Go ahead.
Now, do they have a market though?
Yeah, they got a market.
But really, like I can't really say because I never hear that music played out of any cars that I drive by. Like I don't hear that.
They have a market.
Here you do.
Yeah, man. I'm talking about you.
Down here you do.
I'm talking about because we live in Georgia, man. So that whole mumble rap mixed with trap.
Actually, I never. Well, I can't say that. I'm you know what I'm saying. I'm old, so I don't be up in the club.
You heard it in somebody's bathroom before. Where it belongs.
My cousins down on here, none of them. Nobody that I know fell for that.
Hey, let me tell you something. What Matt just said is totally true. And there's a market for it, man, because at this particular point, the way I see it, the music that we hear as far as this new urban music, regardless it's supposed to be rap like Trippie Redd and all them, that's actually catered towards that demographic.
Yeah.
You got a couple of us that still think we 20 years old, that still think we can fit in some cross-colored jeans. Panama Jack t-shirts, you got a few of us that think that we cool hip and stuff. Yeah, the Bagos and the penny loafers with the little pennies in them. But I mean, as far as it goes, man, that's actually it's designed that way, man. When the powers that be learned that it was money in that particular genre of music, it was a wrap, man. Yeah. That's why you don't see cats like J. Cole or Big Crit or Kendrick Lamar and a few other underground rappers that actually got flow. That's why you don't see none of them younger cats on a major scale. But when we grew up, it wasn't nothing to see a K Solo or a Redman or Mike Geronimo or Skyzo. I think it's Skyzo.
Skyzo.
Yeah, Skyzoo. I mean, and that ain't even scratching the surface.
Yeah, that's
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know what, man? Like it's like the whole thing you just mentioned. Damn it, you just called his name.
Mike Geronimo.
No. He was on Black Panther soundtrack. What's my boy?
Kendrick Lamar.
Kendrick Lamar. People act like he just came to the dance. I'm like, bro, Kendrick Lamar been dropping heat for like 4 albums. Where y'all been at, man? Like, at what rock were you under? All these years, man, because them first 2 albums are off the charts.
Section 80 bars.
Section 80 alone is better than anything that's out today. Anything that's out.
But see, he's a student of the craft. He'll tell you in a minute who his influences are, and he got some heavy hitters on his list. So he learned from some of the best that's out there. You know what I'm saying? Whereas you got somebody, what that joker is called in Minnesota, the one they were, you know what I'm talking about? The one they were bagging on so bad he had to go on somebody's show and ended up doing a freestyle, and they still ragged on him because they thought he had wrote it down, which it actually sounded better than the music. No, I'm serious. What's his name, Reemo? You know what I'm talking about.
Not Lil Yachty.
No, that's who it was. It was Lil Yachty. Lil Yachty, man, they called. I think he was on Ebro's show, man. He called hell. They were talking.
Is that the one that was on Sirius Satellite?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, then Redman came on there freestyle over the same beat.
The same beat. And killed
yeah, I remember that.
But see, Lil Yachty came back on the show, and he said he claimed like it was a freestyle, but it wasn't. He wrote it down, and somebody wrote it for him. But whoever wrote it for him,
he got Will Smith to write it.
It went halfway bad, so that let me know he has that ability to do that. But because that, some of the under the skirt, all that stuff is popular. That's what you gonna do. I mean,
you kill me with the skirt.
I'm gonna do skirt.
Hey, man, the RZA started that shit. The RZA started that shit.
No, what he do and what they do, are 2 different things, man. They be trying to be like your boy off of Police Academy, man. Don't trip. You be trying to make special effects with their mouth, man. Stop.
This was just off of that album. He was just on that dust during that time. He thought he was some superhero or something.
Apparently.
He went off the deep end during
communicating with birds or something. I don't know, maybe you think he bird third.
Domestic violence.
Exactly. I can't even front that. That album was hard.
Hey, man, that was a good album. That second one was.
Yeah, not so much, but the first one.
Who y'all talking about?
RZA.
Bobby Digital.
For some reason, man, like he had said a verse in one song, man. I'm like, man, what the hell is the RZA talking about, man? Like, I still want to know what he talking about in Trying Perpendicular to the Square Stand Go Like Flower. I still don't know if he talking about Ric Flair.
That's what I thought he was talking about.
I know what perpendicular to the square stand for. I'm a Mason, so I know what that stands for.
I didn't know. So
yeah,
what's
that's a Masonic? So I have to kill you if I tell you. I have to kill you if I tell you.
You can try.
I can shoot your ass.
Hey man, I got some skills, son. I throw these shits like Gambit. Connect.
But yeah, I think he's talking about Ric Flair. That's the only. I mean, stand tall like Flair. That's the only person I can think of. Stand tall like Flair.
Yeah.
He's a wrestler. He's a wrestler. He's on record as a wrestling fan, so like, you got to be talking about Ric Flair.
I just want to know, man. Perpendicular to the square, stand go like Flair. Escape from your dragon's lair. In particular, like okay.
RZA be saying some off the wall shit, you know.
Yeah, Wu Gambino. He doing it. Wu Gambino. He throw it off slow and he go. He be talking. You know, I'm like, what is this man talking about?
RZA is one of them dudes that's got too much knowledge. He don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the cat. That's the cat that you see on Saturday afternoon when you go to the gas station.
Yeah.
And then he be talking about, hey my brother, let me talk to you for a second, my brother. Let me tell you about what's going on. See the pyramid over here, man. The pyramid stands for this and that. And you be like, man, what the fuck is he talking about, man? That's that dude, man. That's him. Hey, y'all saw it in what's the American song, Wu-Tang American? You saw him in there. He got that book. Y'all saw the episode. He got the book, and next thing you know, man, he was quoting every way he was going, man. Hey, yo, what's the 1 to 40, man? Yo, man, I'm in the 19th degree, man.
Yo, that documentary was dope as fuck, man. I loved watching that whole thing, man. I just liked how they, you know, everything came together, and then as soon as they got big and stuff, they all wanted to go solo, and then they all want to, you know, split from Wu management, you know. And
well, I mean, that always gonna happen because, you know.
I just remember that whole ordeal with ODB. You know, that they wouldn't let him out. You know, that shit was,
man. They did my boy dirty.
Yeah, hey, man. You know what you call it, man. When Loud Records folded, man, that was kind of like the writing on the wall.
Yeah, that was kind of a blow too, because Loud Records was putting out a lot of good stuff in the 90s.
Oh yeah, man. It's like Loud and Rockers, man.
I just told you he gave him $500,000 for that album.
Yeah,
off of 2 verses, off of the Cream verse. He got that. He got that deal off of the Cream verse. Like none of them had record deals until that album came out. And if you notice, I never watched the documentary, but just watching it, they took meth and they took what do you call it, the Def Jam. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah.
With Steve Rifkin, you know what I'm saying? SRC. And you know what I mean? Like that's how it was supposed to be. But then, you know, you rock the boat. Start thinking that RZA and Power is taking money, which they probably was.
When it comes to money, everybody tends to dip their hands and steal a few dollars, man.
Yeah. So I mean, unless it's like, you know, when you got somebody who's legitimately like saying, hey, I don't want none of your money. And this is the breakdown. This is how it is. And there's your money. There's my money. This is how I'm getting paid. I'm taking this. Then even if it's written like that, you're still gonna have somebody who's upset. But they're gonna be like, "Why get that money?"
Hey, who about the fuck? Who do you think you're talking to, huh?
Exactly.
Who do you think you're talking to? Some fucking bellboy.
Exactly.
And that's all part of like record industry rule number 4080, man. There's some shady shit going on all over the place, and that's always ruin, you know, most artists. You know, it's either they shoot themselves in the foot, money issues, groups breaking up, record labels screw them over. It's like it's a common theme. Like if you watch every episode of TV One's Unsung, 9 times out of 10, that's pretty much how they end.
Yep. Yeah, you're right about it.
But like they say, man, you ain't got to sign the deal. You ain't got to sign that deal. Like it's up to you. You know what I'm saying? If you want to sign the deal or not. Like, and it's crazy to me how all these deals are signed without a lawyer, like a legit lawyer that actually knows. Like I said, they're all crooked. They're all crooked unless you got somebody who's like your dad or your uncle or whatever, who's a lawyer, entertainment lawyer that can look over the paperwork. Somehow you're gonna get screwed.
Bro, New Edition got screwed so bad.
TLC got screwed.
TLC
so
got
bad.
rolled.
They got rickrolled, man. Like here's here's the contract. It's a picture of Rick.
Yeah, your
This sign across his face. This sign across his face.
cold-blooded about.
Never gonna give you up, boy.
Johnny Gill and I think Ralph Tresvant own the name New Edition, so they're the only ones that can perform under that name.
Unbelievable.
Ain't that some shit?
And Johnny Gill was the later member.
Yeah, Ralph was smart, boy. You know, Ralph was like, "Hey, man, y'all can fuck by Brown all y'all want and all that foolishness. I know what I'm gonna do." Oh yeah, Red Man on Creel. That was a classic episode, man.
Classic.
That's still go down in the history of the animals of hip hop.
That's every bachelor pad and every rap dude's house.
My boy had Nintendo on the middle of the floor.
That was the realest, man. Cause then he had boards on the walls or something like on the windows, the soundproof the wall.
Yeah.
And Red Man, that joker does not. He said, "Look, man, y'all go out and get all these big ass cribs. I don't need all that shit, man. I'm stacking my paper." That's a smart man, though.
I mean, look at him now.
Yeah.
I mean,
got money.
They're like Kendrick Lamar bought a $100,000 house. They were like, "Hey man, why you buy that house, man? You filthy rich." You're like, "For what? I'm barely be home."
Yeah,
I'm on
exactly.
tour.
You know, most of the time they on tour and shit. They ain't gonna be
for what?
Everybody ain't like Drake got to buy half of Canada and
do you see brother's house?
Oh, Drake
don't make no sense.
That should look like a castle.
Drake got a house like Bill Gates.
Yo, that house is insane. You ain't seen it,
crazy, man.
No, I hadn't seen it. I've
seen it.
Dude,
and I'm like,
he got the Toronto Raptors practice facility inside of his house.
I laughed when I saw this nigga, man.
What?
Come on, man.
Are you talking about the real the Toronto Raptors?
He's basically recreated it. They redid
the
facility.
I'm sitting there like, what the hell, man? I know you're a Raptor homo, but do you really need to do something like that?
He don't even play ball.
Hey,
no.
Reemo. The question though is, he got all that shit, but does he have Hulk 181? That's all I need to know. That's all. Hey, you got all that shit, my homeboy. I would have asked him if I've been the host. I'd be like, "Hey, man, I see that you got all this great stuff, Mr. Drake, but I got one question, man. Do you have Hulk 181 or Giant Size X-Men #1? If you don't have one of them, you ain't got shit. Action Comics
#1.
In a 10-0, yeah, 10-0 with the gold label.
Hey, look. Ain't nobody trying to, steal your shine. Go on and check that Joker house.
I believe he does. I would believe it if he did, because that house is enormous, man.
It's huge.
Oh my God, dude! For one dude, like one person, like, hell no.
That's what you call excess. But I mean, it's his money, that the grassy money,
So if he bought and made that house, that means he's got way more money than that.
Yeah.
Hell, he bought a damn jet.
So I wonder how much stake he actually got in Toronto in terms of the basketball team. He's got to have some stake in that.
We need Larry here. See, Larry can answer that question. I'd say he's got to have at least 15%.
Yeah.
You would think 15%.
Especially after they won the championship, that he got some bread to do that.
He's stacking his bread, or he must have sold some publishing or something.
Drake, man. Drake is a polarizing character, man. I mean, I'm not really a huge fan of Drake, but I will say the Pound Cake album wasn't that bad. The one with Jay-Z, the Pound Cake, that wasn't too bad. But all the other stuff, all that singing and Tony stuff, no, man. You keep all that, man.
He's the global ambassador.
Yeah, he's got like, man, that house, man. And it's like stone. The house is made of stone. It's got he had all these masons out there doing this. I was like, man, they were measuring everything perfectly.
I swear, I'll never forget a comment. Dude saying that, he put on his headphones. He's getting ready to go in the shower, and he listened to Drake. And then he realized, after he listened to Drake, he never turned the water on. He soaked himself with his own tears because of Drake listening out. I was like, what? That's Drake music in a nutshell, man.
Yeah. That Joker boy, he is a trip.
Yeah, he definitely, man. When I seen that video, I was flipping through something on YouTube and it popped up and it was like, and I was like, oh yeah, let me I told my wife, let's check this out. And I watched that and they were building just a basketball court and I'm like, oh wait a minute. And then like another video popped up and it was like another part there. I was like, yo, this house is massive. Like it looks like a castle, literally. It looks like some shit from fucking in England or something.
You know what? This real talk, man. I know this ain't got nothing to do with hip hop, but if I ever had that kind of money, man, I would build a house and I would model it after Metroplex and shit, like for real. If I'm gonna do something with my money like that, I'm gonna do something eccentric. Like you're gonna come to my house, you're gonna see real life size models of the Mach 5 and the Mystery Machine and all that kind of shit, like sitting in the front yard. Like my house is gonna have a big ass Autobot signal on it, and when I say Metroplex, he's gonna say yes, Al. He's gonna say do all kinds of shit. I'm telling you, man. If I don't never give you that kind of money, I'm telling you. I'm telling you, man.
You'll have all that before you have giant size X-Men 1?
Oh no. You know, actually, at that point in time, man, if I had Drake money,
I said if you got all that shit and you ain't got Hulk 181 or giant size X-Men, don't talk to me, man.
Hey, let me tell you something. If I had money like Drake, I would have a 10.8 giant size X-Men CGC.
Yeah. Hey, free on time. There you go. Hey, Turtle Van, right?
That's what I'm talking about, man. I'm talking about
Techno drum in my backyard. Hey, man, where you going to?
I'm telling you, bro, if I had that kind of money, man, I'm recreating a whole bunch of shit. Like
Voltron.
I'm gonna have Cat Lad in the backyard, like for real, on a hill.
Y'all these two don't know about it. Damn, they had it down in Sanderville, Georgia with Malachi.
You ain't lying with Wesley Snipes when he was in that
cult. Yeah, that cult.
They called him. I can't remember
the new Wami down there in Sanderville.
Yeah, a lot of folks don't know that, man. Back in the 90s, man, Wesley Snipes. This was after Blade.
No, this is 90s. No, this is 90s. Yeah, this is mid 90s.
Yeah, this was after Blade. After Blade came out, man. Wesley Snipes had hooked up with a guy here in Georgia, and they had a cult in the country. It was black folk, and they had like pyramids and all kinds of shit. Like the Fed shut them down for something.
That,
but
you talking about Malachi York?
Yeah, him. But yeah, man, they almost had Egypt in Georgia. So
he had all them kids, all them.
Yeah,
and I think they got him for a pedophilia or something like that.
Yeah, he's serving life. Got a life sentence.
Yeah, but yeah, man, Cat Slab, Castle Grayskull and Castle Grayskull will be standing right next to each other and be full side too, bro.
Your boy.
Hey, Sean, pull that comment up, man. I like that one.
Hey, your boy is a product of 21 Savage.
Who?
He was born out there.
Well, out of that thing in Sanderville, Georgia.
remember when they was trying to deport him?
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, you noticed they couldn't deport him, right?
Then why they kept saying he was from England when that joker was from the country?
He was down in Sanderville, Georgia, man.
Dun, dun, dun.
At the Big Chicken.
Hey, let's not talk about it before Matt might have to kill us, and then they strike Puff.
Hey, no, I ain't got nothing to do with. Hey, I ain't got nothing to do with them, Mason. They ass backwards.
Now he from whatever that little thing.
Yeah, we blackballed him. He out of there.
Yeah, they their own little thing over there. So that's why he wasn't from England. That's just what they said. He from there. Remember they had their own little if you talk about the point, they had their own. They were like sovereign or whatever for that area. So
yeah. I remember hearing about that, but I didn't care enough about 21 Savage to give a damn. It's like you gonna deport them. I don't give a fuck, man.
The only thing I give him credit about, man, is that he actually it looks like over the
whole script.
Yeah, he's matured, man, and his mindset is not like it was like when he first came out. Because he's on this thing, which I respect. I don't too much care for his music, but he's basically on this tip now of empowering like young black men and women to like invest their money and save it and all that kind of stuff, man. So I could get with that. But his music, no, man. The older you get, the more brain cells you start to deplete due to old age. I don't need to give none away for free. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, I ain't got time for all that.
Mm-mm.
I'm right here with Sadat X.
Right.
Yeah, Sadat X, man, he gets swept up under the current of underrated.
He got a new album out right now.
Yeah, I heard that. You heard the new Public Enemy album?
I heard Premier had something new come out this week.
Already out.
Yeah,
it is.
They've been playing it on Sirius a lot lately.
Really?
So they got Flavor Flav and Chuck D together to do an album.
Man,
what?
There's a new album.
Let me go check this out, man.
I don't know if Flavor Flav is on it.
He's been with. I've seen, like, I follow Chuck D, and it's the crazy part, man. Chuck D actually follows me on Instagram. I'm like trying to figure out, like, when did this happen? You know, it's crazy, man.
And it's crazy when they follow you, brother. That means they watch. So you can chat them up, and they'll talk to you.
I'd be like, Chuck, hey man, Chuck, you got that Hot 181? Like, man, I'm fighting the power, son. You know, something like that.
I bet DMC got it.
Man, DMC, I didn't realize that dude was that dude's a huge comic book head. But you know who actually who tripped me out was Method Man. Oh, Method Man has an extensive collection. I would love to see what he got.
Yeah.
I wish these guys would actually like do more to explore on their hobbies outside of music and stuff. Because Jim Cornette has comic books too. He talks comic books. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, if you looked up his podcast on YouTube, there's an episode him talking about comic books, and he used to have a big collection, then he shrunk it down, but he talks a lot about comics sometimes on that podcast. It's just that he does it enough.
Yeah, I just found it. Wow.
See it?
Yep, I'm saving it right now.
That one comic that DMC had, and you said it was rare, but I knew he had put out some comics, but I could never find them. They didn't sell them.
Yeah, they're hard to find. Especially now after they initially sold.
Yeah, like
you could barely find them in any store. You ain't gonna see them in back issues. Hell, his website don't even have them. Yeah. And I'm missing a 1.5 in between 1 and 2.
Yeah, and
that shit is so hard to. One guy selling on eBay. He's selling on eBay for like $5, but it's $30 shipping. I'm like, what the fuck? Get the fuck out of my face with that shit.
Hey, since we talking about hip hop, man, Al put me on the book last year, man. There's a Kid and Play.
Yeah.
That's extremely hard to come by, man.
Yeah. What is it, like issue 2 or something like that?
Like 9, some weird off the wall number, man. Like 9, I believe.
Who's in it though? What's the significance?
Like Venom ain't been a minute. I know about Pete Rock, man.
Yeah, I think Venom is actually like it's kind of like one of them offshoot, that whole second cameo, first time appearance in his underwear, that kind of shit, man.
Yeah, yeah. But I know it's like one that's got their faces on the cover, like that, almost like the movie poster or whatever.
I'm actually looking for a graded one. I want to get that Kid and Play slab, but why not?
Speaking of Public Enemy, I know Robert G he showed that Public Enemy comic to me, on one of the shows, and that's one of the AOKs he's sending out to me. I didn't even know Public Enemy had a comic book.
Was it on the Marvel side or the DC?
I think it was Marvel, but I'm not sure.
Wow.
Hey, I just looked up that Kid and Play. It says that was the last issue of the series.
Oh, that's why.
It says it was an out of continuity appearance of Marvel heroes and villains, hallucination of plays who ate tainted pizza. So we had food poisoning and started dreaming about Marvel characters and stuff.
No wonder.
Some of that bad pizza, man. You should tell them where to go. Y'all should tell them where to go, Reemo and Sean.
You went to Papa John's.
Which one? What happened?
He was talking about the comment. There was they ate bad pizza. I said they should have came and consulted y'all on where to go get pizza from up there in New York.
Dude, when I lived out that way, man, I lived in New Jersey and they had some fire pizza. Boy, when I would go to New York, man, I couldn't find good pizza, man. I might not go to the right places. You know what I'm saying?
There's too many pizza stores in New York.
Yeah, it depends on your neighborhood.
Yeah.
There's a Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That Public Enemy is out.
Did it come out today?
No, it came out September 25th.
Oh, okay, last. Yeah, because I've been hearing it, and it was almost like they were. Because at first
I didn't even know they were back with Def Jam because it's under.
Wow, that's even crazier.
Yeah. First release on the label since He Got Game.
Damn.
He Got Game.
That was late 90s, like 99, 2000 when He Got Game. Was it earlier than that?
Oh, now, interesting question here, because there's a lot of references in hip-hop songs from comics. I'm thinking, Method Man had the Ghost Rider reference with the Johnny Blaze, especially in the video Triumphant. He actually was Johnny Blaze.
Oh, that's a hard one, man.
Y'all check that Chad Boseman Spawn.
Oh yeah, that's ordered.
Yeah, I hadn't ordered a few of them.
Dude, hey, let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you something, brother. That book. Anybody watching this, please get that Spawn 311 beat cover. Because when some black folk find out about this, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, man, I can't even formulate words, man. I think McFarlane, that's a smart play on McFarlane because he did that. I can respect him honoring Chadwick Boseman, but man, the sales of that book gonna go through the roof. And we only talk about eBay, the scalpers and the flippers. Man, that book gonna be they're gonna be a $78 book day one raw.
And then they only gonna let you pre-order one.
Yeah.
I'm like, motherfucker. They let me order like 3 of the color cover, and then the black and white one. They're like, oh yeah, you only get one.
I just need one of that black and white, man. Yeah, that's gonna be a book to pick up though. But let me ask y'all a question: If y'all had y'all's choice of bringing back the hip hop artists in their prime from the 90s to today, who would it be?
In their prime?
Mm-hmm. Like you just pluck them from the 90s, like the Beyonder, and bring them in the 2020s. Who would you do? Who would you be? Who would it be? It could be anybody in that diaspora.
There was one that came. I want 9 from the 90s, even though he still does stuff. But I want 9. To do with 9, you got somebody mentioned K Solo earlier.
I did.
Yeah, K Solo would be another one. Because I thought he was pretty dope. He never truly got no play.
Big L, man. Big L would be interesting. Would be very interesting.
Like take him before the incident happened and bring him. Yeah. Big L will murder fools. I know you seen the post. I know you seen the post that I sent you from Biggie Shack, who was in the chat earlier, about his top 3 freestyle rappers.
Yeah,
he had Biggie, DMX, and Redman. I can rock with DMX because DMX is the definition of a battle rapper, freestylist, man. He'll tear you up on the mic. Biggie is solid, but I don't know about like straight up freestyle, like compared to somebody like a Lord Finesse or Big L.
Yeah.
he wouldn't be in my top 3. Big L will be right there.
That's why I said no way. No way.
I don't know. That's a tough one, man. I don't know.
It is.
That's a tough one. Because, I mean, there's still a lot of the people that you could say they're still around to this day. It's just, they're just not good. You know what I mean? Like, they're still around. It's just not that they're not good. It's just that I'd rather listen to their old stuff, you know? I don't know, man. I really can't answer that.
Matt?
That's it, Big L.
That's it?
Yeah, Big L and 18-year-old now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, nah. I probably have to take it back to what we started off the show at with Raekwon. Like Raekwon, just have Raekwon the way he was then now.
We got Roger in the chat. Guru top 3.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Free.
Vanilla Ice.
Hey, you know what, man? Vanilla Ice. I'll take listening to Vanilla Ice over anything today. And that's saying something, bro.
That's it.
That's saying something.
In my 5.0.
That's
Nate Dogg, man. Nate Dogg. Yo, Nate Dogg is one of those guys that he was like the king of hooks.
Yeah, that's what they call him the hook man. You want to be the hook man? You call Nate Dogg.
He can rap too.
Yeah, he can rap, but he just killed it on the hooks, you know, and regulators all day.
Never leave me alone. Never leave me alone.
That was now I'm telling you another hook man that really didn't get a lot of shine, and that was DV alias Christ.
Yes.
He didn't get I mean, because he did a song with Sadat X called Wild Cowboys.
Yeah, I heard that.
Man,
he just put out a song last week, man.
Sadat X.
Oh yeah.
I just seen him on this guy I fool with out in the DMV. He directed the video, so he posted it on his page. But I think a lot of those dudes are living like in Maryland and DC area, Virginia. So there's like a
yo
big area
stack bundles, man. This man never got a chance. Like he never got a chance.
Right there. That's my guy right there.
Stack bundles. Yeah. Man, put out so many mixtapes, man. Never got a chance to put out an album.
And all those mixtapes were fire.
Yeah, now you can't even find them.
Yeah, and then the stuff he did with Jim Jones.
Yep.
And Max B.
I never liked the Jim Jones, man. I was like, I wasn't big on Jim Jones, but Stack Bundles was that dude.
Yeah, Stack Bundles was that dude for sure. Yeah. You ever listen to Flea Lord?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that dude, man. He used to fool with Stack Bundles. I think he was in the crew with him.
Man, I'm still trying to think of other rappers. There's a bunch of them from the 90s I would like to pluck out and put them in today. You know, especially rappers that didn't get no shine. Like, I would like to see more underground rappers that didn't get no play. Like Kane put out a couple of songs and disappeared. You know, because back then they didn't have a platform like we have today with YouTube and social media stuff. So they wouldn't just outright disappear like they did in the 90s.
Big Daddy Kane was pretty big, man. He was in Madonna Sex, but he was pretty big.
You bring up the sex book.
he was known, man. He was up in that book, man. He wasn't like he wasn't like not known, man. They knew who that dude was. She put him all up in there in a Speedo.
Yeah, we talked about Keith Murray earlier.
Yeah, he fell victim to the
White Horse, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Keith Murray was dope when he first came out, though, man. The Death Squad was just dope all the way around. My choices, man, I can think of two off the top. I would bring back up a Prime DMX. I would bring
Prime
back
J. Rue. I'll bring
Prime
J.
Rue. J. Rue would be dope. And I will bring back Camp Low.
Camp Lo, the album they did with Pete Rock is good too. We don't know.
Talking about the 21 Blocks to Tiffany's or something.
That one was a good album too.
Yeah. They actually had some consistent albums, man.
Yeah.
It was just their style, man. Their style as far as their MCing, it just went over a lot of people's heads. Like they just, it took me a minute.
I want Finesse because he only dropped 3 albums and then quit the game in terms of, after DITC album Worldwide, he dropped out from rapping. But I want to see Finesse in this environment.
Yeah. Now he just DJs, travels and DJs.
Yeah.
Him and Russell Peters. Him and Russell Peters be touring, DJing and shit.
There was a group that I want. What's the name? Brought up Onyx.
Onyx, I like Onyx, but I only like their second album.
That's the only one I really like.
Last Days is the only album I like.
I like Back the Fuck Up. It was all right.
I mean, I like it, but I mean, as far as like replayability, like I can play that.
I thought that third album was pretty dope, but after that, they kind of fell off until they started working with Snow Goons.
Now you know who has an album that has replayability? That damn the first Lost Boys CD.
Oh
yeah,
bro.
We were talking about that earlier.
Yeah, with Lex beat. You know what I'm talking about? Renee and It's All Right, all them on there, man. I play that song. I mean, I play that album like anytime, day or night, man. I just run through it, bro.
Yeah, we mentioned Redman earlier. We talked about him.
Yeah, Redman.
Yeah, Jamal.
We talked about him last week, but yeah, he was fire.
Yeah, Sean Price. One thing about Sean Price is that even before he died, that man was a legend in the underground scene. Like, and he was hilarious, man. Sean Price had that comedic timing effect with the videos he was doing. Like, I love Sean Price, man. He got better after the whole thing in the 90s with Helter Skelter, and once he went solo, he became the man.
He was hard though, man. He was hard in Helter Skelter. Like,
yeah, people kind of the first album, people kind of liked the Rock more than Ruck, but then once Ruck started becoming Sean Price more and being the brokest rapper alive, that's when everybody started really paying attention.
It was the perfect mesh of smooth and hard and smooth. You know what I mean? Like they complemented each other perfectly. You know what I mean?
And I want Prime Artifacts back.
A Prime Tame 1.
That's Prime Artifacts. That's what I want. Because after the Artifacts, Tame 1 kind of just hit or miss for me.
Yeah.
I felt like Elder Sensei put out better quality.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Albums than Tame did.
I wanted to like Tame more than L, but he just, like you said, he just fell off.
Yeah, and I always liked the L, but Tame 1 was better.
Yeah.
But he just disappointed on the solo stuff.
Exactly.
And L's first album was really dope. Mm-hmm. That's another album that's hard to find now.
Yeah. You remember I got it on vinyl. I got both of their albums on vinyl. You got what do you call it? Remember the Outsiders?
Yeah. I remember the Outsiders.
Young Z and all them. They were like the first real like freestyle dudes from New York, battle rappers. Then they had.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Now I was gonna ask you. You ain't talking about the Outsiders with Tupac, are you?
No, Outside.
No, not them.
They were from New Jersey, and they put Eminem on, but it was it's Raw Digga's boyfriend, his crew. And Raw Digga was in it, and then she ended up going with Busta Rhymes, Flip Mode. So they were almost like a Wu-Tang Clan. They were called the Outsiders.
Hey Al, remember when you posted this song a couple of weeks ago from this album? Much more.
Yeah, man. That's a lot of people slept on that album right there, man.
Yeah.
Grind Date is dope.
Yeah, it's a great song. I love the song with Ghostface and the last song with MF Doom.
Mm-hmm.
Was some great music right there. And that you ever with Murs and Ninth Wonder?
Mm-hmm.
316. I listen to all that.
I'm saying, man, it's just so much out there, man. This is ridiculous, man. Like you can have a library full of nothing but hip hop.
Yep. It's the second album, Murray's Revenge. I got all their albums. But I love that anything that Ninth Wonder did with artists, you know, like whether it's with Kazi, whether it's with Murs, and you know, and MB4-Pack can agree with me on that, you know. Like Ninth Wonder with anybody could be solid.
Yeah,
Matt, you got some comics?
Yeah, man, I gotta do some bagging, man.
Man, that Joe can't stay out of comics though, man. Like it's
like cocaine, man. It's like
it's
cocaine.
calling me. It's calling me.
I'm like Chris Rock on New Jack City. Hey, come on, man, give me just a little bit,
you ain't
man.
Pookie. Don't say that. No.
Come on, man, give me just. Hey, man, I just need one hole in one, baby. One in one, man. Give me just a crease of it, baby. Just a crease.
I fell victim to this, man, and I'm about to start yanking them off my pull list. But these store reprints are getting out of hand, man.
Hey, man, I told somebody, I said they're on Thor 4063.75.
I'm like, man, I'm over it. Like I fell victim, and then I'm like, man, I'm over it, man. Now they up to like 5th print of some stuff. I'm like, are you serious? Like, they just oversaturating it, man.
That's what they do, man. That's what they do.
Terrible, man. I fell victim.
Hey man, we have a point in time, man. That's the way of the world, sir.
I literally went to go pick up my pool list yesterday, and I had a stack. It was like triple the size, and I'm like, what the hell? And half of it was reprints of Thor.
Damn.
And he decided to put them all in your pool?
No, because I told him, I said, look, when they come out, I
read my mind.
I want one reprint. I want you to give me one of the reprints when they come out. You know what I'm saying? But they released like the 4th print, the 3rd print, the 2nd of like 5 different issues this week. So I got like 5 or 6 extra books, and I'm like, that don't even. I'm good. About to cancel.
Yeah, Marvel doing these reprints is ridiculous, especially considering the fact that the first reprint comes out a week or 2 after the original.
Yeah.
Come on now.
He's playing.
Yeah, he's playing. It's, just a whole nother discussion now, man. Say that for the morning.
I want to bring this one up real quick.
Oh, yes. Bring it up. Iron Out, baby. Faking Jacks. That's my shit. That whole album from beginning to end.
I love the Iron Eye album, Center of Attention, man. That's like, it's one of those albums that when I first bought this CD and I listened to it to work, I was just straight vibing. You know, you in vibe mode and the music is hitting you, and I'm like, this shit is a fucking classic, man.
It is, man. I'm telling you, that is like that's the album. That is Pete Rock is a savant, man. When it comes to producing, that album from beginning to end, man. I'm telling you, that's in like that's in my top albums.
And I love, like I said, I love Faking Jacks. I love Think Twice. Square One. I mean, the whole damn album is just dope.
Center of attention, man. Center of attention.
And then, and while I'm not big on Data the Baby Pa, the production on that album is solid. Like the first song, Everyman, is just great. You know, Pete Rock dropping lyrics on there. Oh, you heard this?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, I know about it, man.
It's like musical bliss to your ears. And I know you posted earlier this week the PM Dawn song.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you was talking about how that song, got flack, and I know Big Reemo said, "Don't show that to KRS-One." And I was like, but it's the music, the music just captures your attention and you just get sucked into it. And that's what it was with this album, man.
There's a backstory to that. So
then they get to fighting
I know.
or something.
Yeah, he threw him off the stage.
But what I'm saying is, even the backstory to that is that I don't know if you heard about all the producers back in the day. Like they used to go to there was a record swap meet at the Roosevelt Hotel.
Yep.
And everybody would go there. That's where Pete Rock and Large Professor and DJ Premier and Q-Tip, everybody would get together. They would all meet up there and they would go and shop for records. And there was one particular record dealer, so you can put it in comic book terms. There was one particular dealer that if you would pay extra, you could get in there and go and look at the records before everybody gets your stuff ready. So when they open the doors, you buy your stuff. Well, this particular guy would have all the best records saved for somebody, and everybody was trying to figure out who he was saving them for. And it turned out to be your boy, Prince Bigg. And he wasn't even using them right. So that started the hate. You know what I'm saying? And then when he did that shit and took over the game, they was like, yeah, we got to put a stop to this.
Man, could you imagine back then, man? Just the madness that it was. It's the same way as all of us going to get comic books. They're going to get records.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's the same thing.
Yep.
That's why I was telling Al, I was like, that was why I stopped buying comic books, because I was buying records, and the records was costing about the same, man, if not more. You know what I'm saying? Depending on what you get.
He was buying Hot 181s all over the place back in the day, boy.
Dude, I wish. I only needed one. I only needed one.
Oh man.
I'm still mad I didn't get that. Still mad.
Yeah, I agree with that. But yeah, man, it's just so much great hip hop out there, like you said. Whether it's underground, old school, I just prefer my hip hop to be strictly neck breaking. That my neck got to nod to the beat, and the lyrics got to be on point.
Yep.
Agreed.
And you got to make that face.
Oh, yep.
Gotta be like you just licked on a lemon.
Yeah. Hey, so you gotta have that face when the first time y'all ever had some of Al's chili, boy. Yeah. He'll tell you.
Hey man.
And some of them sour cream donuts. Boy, hey, I know what I'm talking about. That's why you laughing. He knows that's what I'm talking about. Boy.
I made some chili a while back, man. I ain't gonna lie, bro. That chili was pretty good, if I do say so myself, man. Matt, tell you, man, I didn't get.
Bro, Matt was shitting all over the place, dog. That shit was so good. I was just shitting all over the house, man. It was the bomb, dog. TheBomb.com. They say, hey, Matt, man, when you die with you, I said, I want request. I want Al to have chili at the funeral so that y'all can taste this stuff, man, for y'all self. See, boy.
It's Big L, J Love.
I did hear that one.
ODB.
Yeah, Big Baby Jesus.
Big Baby Jesus.
The Best of Sean P. It's like
Was that after?
No, this was during after the first two albums. It's from the underground hip hop.com.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Hey, Sean, are those worth anything, man?
What?
Those underground hip hop? Yeah.
I don't know. I never really looked them up.
Yeah, I would assume I would have.
These we got for free if you spent over $50.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would check to see, man. They might actually be worth something, man.
Yeah, a lot of stuff I done be seeing on eBay, people be selling for ridiculous price. I don't know if they be selling, but I see it on there. My friend, when he gets his album releases like on vinyl, like he don't press up that many, but they be selling for like $300-$400, man.
What Roger say?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I mean,
Here's Mr. What?
What?
Nori ain't like he got 16 in that piece.
That's fresh out of jail, Nori.
Straight out of Rikers.
That's a good one right there.
Man, big pun.
Somebody mentioned him in the chat earlier.
Yeah. Jace. It was the question when you asked about bringing rappers back from the 90s to now. Yeah, man. Is that I remember when Mobb Deep signed with 50 Cent, and I was like questioning what the hell they thinking. Because I was like, that
album was good. That G-Unit album was good though.
It was good, but I just wasn't feeling them being a part of 50 Cent.
Yeah. I understood what they were doing. I mean, they were just keeping it.
It's like when MOP signed with Rockefeller. Yeah. And I'm thinking, oh shit. And this was right after You Don't Know off the Blueprint. So I'm like, yo, I'm looking forward to that MOP. And then years go by, no MOP on Rockefeller, and then we found out they got released. And I was like, man, that was the biggest disappointment ever, man.
And
yeah, they had a hot one with that one. And then the remix with Reemo.
Busta Rhymes was on one too.
Yeah, they were both.
Yeah. And it's one of them songs that make you want to go try to turn over a Volkswagen.
Yeah. Well, who remember Live the Dark Man?
I do.
What's his brother's name?
Wow?
Yeah, his little brother. Willie the Kid.
I was gonna say Willie the Kid.
Willie the Kid. They are in Georgia, aren't they? Both of them, aren't they? Yeah.
Are they in Georgia? I thought they was out west.
They're in Georgia.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, they're in Atlanta. Let's say with a lot of dark man there.
Hey, Matt, this mixtape is better than all his albums, man. Outside first.
Method Man has some shitty albums, man. I mean, straight doo-doo on a stick, man.
Everything after Tikal was kind of questionable.
Yeah. I mean, Tikal, that wasn't his full potential, man. And I was like, man, you need to be ashamed of yourself, man. That second album was garbage.
I ain't nobody judging you, Roger, man, because they were talking about movie soundtracks like earlier. Man, back in the 90s, man, the movie soundtrack was doper than the actual movie sometimes, man.
Yep.
High School High.
Ain't what you want, baby. It's what you need.
That New Jersey Drive Volume 1 and 2 was the business, though.
Oh, my God. Volume 2, though. Volume 2.
Both of them. Now, Volume 2, it edged out Volume 1.
Had basically all the New York shit.
Yeah.
Volume 1 had, like, stuff from out here. They had that All About My Fatty with...
Which volume was Benz a Beamer on?
It was
first.
on Volume 1.
Okay.
Yeah, Volume 2 had, like, the E Brothers. It had what do you call it? The Red Man, I Can't Wait. Or I Can't Wait. Yeah.
You know, I brought this up earlier.
Remember the Who's the Man soundtrack?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Who's the Man was dope. And that Street Fighter, the movie soundtrack was dope too, man, but the movie was garbage.
Who was on there?
Hot garbage.
Roz Cars was on there. Ice Cube. God, who else? I want to say MC8 was on that sucker too. I didn't pull it. Hold on.
But the Rascals one wasn't it the one with it was Exhibit and what do you call it on there with him, right? Rascals, Exhibit, and Saphir.
How about
that was the name of the song. We went all around pitching and no one hit it. Yeah.
About Boys in the Hood soundtrack.
Oh yeah.
That song. Yeah, that
Friendly Game of Baseball was on there.
Yeah, then you had the Tony song. I liked it on that as well. Just me and you. Yeah.
Check this out. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Sean. Go ahead.
Like back in the day, soundtracks was just banging, man. Like I said earlier, you didn't mind sitting through the end credits just to hear the compilation of music.
Yep. That Street Fighter soundtrack had Ice Cube, Ahmad, Ross Cars, and Saphir. It had Nas, The Pharcyde, Paris, LL, Craig Mack, Hammer, and Deion Sanders. Don't remember that song.
They must have knew that movie is gonna suck if you gotta have a hip hop soundtrack. I'm like, for real though, man. Like Street Fighter and the hip hop. What the?
It was Ahmad, Razkaz, and Saphir, and that was the one we've been.
Sunset Park. That was a good one.
And no one. I'm the first batter of them all. Will they come with it? Yeah, that
shit was hard.
One thing about Sunset Park and some of the other songs. Oh, Space Jam. I rocked the fuck out of Space Jam.
Oh yeah, Space Jam. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Up North trip.
Yep.
That wasn't on no album, but that soundtrack.
Above the Rim was dope. Juice.
One thing that always got me with Above the Rim is that the whole soundtrack was basically West Coast and the movies in New York.
It was all Death Row.
But see,
that's
the crazy part, though.
That's all. That was how it worked out because it was a Death Row soundtrack. He was filming that movie. He got in trouble with the rape during filming that movie. Went to jail. They blew up, and then they went back and got him.
East Coast ain't got no love for Snoop.
Tales from the Hood.
And that song, what you call it, Domino did.
Say man.
But it's all good. These are the things.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we are joined by HBK.
Yo.
Why that Joker got all the mask in the house though? That's what I'm trying. Are you trying to make an introduction?
Look, you still on the mask, don't you?
It's Sting.
Death Row. It's a label that pays me.
What's going on, Larry?
Okay.
What's going on, peoples?
What's happening?
Man, we just talk about soundtracks of the 90s, man.
Hey, man. Reemo from out West, man. Yeah, hey, man. Reemo from out West, and you can't be coming in here talking about we ain't got no love for the West Coast. Yeah.
Y'all got no little Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg?
Well, come on then.
Oh, man.
Hey, man, it's good to see, man, a panel of hip hop heads on here, man.
You know.
So, go ahead, Reemo.
I was saying that the Above the Rim and the Juice soundtrack were totally different.
Yeah.
Considering, you know what I mean, it was, you know.
Oh yeah, man. Above the Rim, man, might be the top 2-3 greatest hip hop soundtracks all time, man. New Jersey Drive.
Yeah, New Jersey Drive. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what we were saying. New Jersey Drive had 2.
Yeah.
They had 2. So if they would have put it all, it wouldn't all fit on there. But there was some tracks. They didn't have the Queen Latifah, New Jersey. That was a hard one too.
I remember the year New Jersey Drive came out, man. That was around Freaknik.
See?
Yeah, Ben's a big one, man. And me, man, it's one of Outkast's hardest tracks ever.
Yeah, for real.
That track was so good.
The video was hard too.
Big Boy said, from alligator belts to patty melts, I be that smoothest nigga. So how you figured that Atlanta don't be pulling them triggers? I done heard it a couple of times.
Too close to comfort, too close to home. Hey man, that was a good one.
Yeah, it was.
Players Club was pretty dope, man. Players Club was dope. Rhyme and Reason was dope.
I felt like after the 90s, soundtracks became pretty lame. Like it was just the hit song and maybe one other song, and then that was it. Because Larry, I was just telling them, man, back in the day, you didn't mind sitting through the end credits just to hear the compilation of music.
Yeah. All day long, man. I think, man, I don't know. I think, man, maybe 2000s is where soundtracks kind of fell off. Because, of course, we had Get Rich or Die Trying was a good soundtrack. That was in the 2000s. Trying to think of another one that was a good one. Now, Gang Related, that was 97. So that was... So you might be right, man. Because most of the ones I'm thinking of are 90s, like Friday.
Yeah, most of them are 90s. Friday that was another great. I mean, fucking Dr. Dre, Ring Ding Dong, man.
That's one of my favorite Drake songs. That's one of my favorite Drake songs.
Yeah, Hoodlum, that was 90s.
I think Get Rich or Die Trying was probably the last of the Mohicans, man.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I'm thinking about it. Yeah, thank you. That was the last of the Mohicans.
Hey, Jason Lear was a dope soundtrack too.
Yeah, that one.
Oh yeah, Tales from the Hood.
Yeah.
Spice One was on there. Sunset Park. Good one.
Belly.
Yeah, Belly.
Oh yeah, the Belly. Tommy's theme.
Belly had a lot of good Wu-Tang songs on it.
Oh, Ghost Dog. Oh man.
Yeah, Ghost Dog. I forgot about Ghost Dog, man.
You like that? Did you enjoy that truly, or was it just for the fact that it was a RZA?
I liked some of them tracks on them.
Afro Samurai.
Like a score, wasn't it? Like instrumentals and stuff. It wasn't.
And that I loved the instrumentals, man.
Yeah, because I was saying it wasn't like it was all rap. It was like
it was a mixture of rap, but a lot of instrumentals, and some of them instrumentals were dope as hell.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Black Panther was probably last of Mohican. Now I think about it. Black Panther was dope.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Posse had a pretty good soundtrack too.
That's one I ain't heard in a while. Posse.
Yeah, the one with Mario Van Peebles and Big Daddy Kane.
Oh man, I haven't heard that in forever.
Yeah, Posse, man. You went back in there.
I thought you was
I went to the movies to see Posse, man. I gotta find that on Blu-ray though. Real talk.
Is it on Blu-ray?
Yeah, it's I've seen the second. I've seen.
Man, that's a movie people tend to forget.
Bruh, that was a good movie too, man.
Yeah,
Big Daddy Kane was in that.
Yep. And
was okay.
Who else was in that? It was Mario Van Peebles.
Zeus or Tiny Lister, he was in it. Was it Stephen Baldwin was in it?
Yeah, he was the only white dude.
Yeah.
Man, that was a dope movie. Tone Loc was in that movie.
Yeah, Tone Loc was in it.
Remember, it was all rappers. I was just trying to remember what.
Big Daddy Kane was the most known one.
Yeah. And Sonny Spoon.
Boy, you got no damn sense.
Hey, man, that's how I find out about Mario Van Peebles. Sonny Spoon, son. Hey.
No.
Hey, man, Caught Up was an okay one. Dangerous Grounds with Ice Cube, Ice-T.
Yeah, Caught Up. I remember that. I went to
the New Jack City soundtrack. Damn it, you brought up Ice-T, and I'm going New Jack City.
Yeah, New Jack City.
Oh man,
New Jack
that whole
City.
Soundtrack.
Go ahead, Sean. I'm sorry. No,
go ahead, man.
Nah, we probably won't say the same thing, man. New Jack City was like the epitome of like the 90s. Like, if you want to say, here, this is what the 90s was about, give them a New Jack City soundtrack and just say, listen to it.
I look at that New Jack City soundtrack as like the pinnacle of the New Jack Swing era. And then it was kind of just died down right after that. But that was like the peak of New Jack. I'm dreaming, man. Yeah,
that's the hey Sean, that's the TC whenever we watch boxing. Whenever somebody get knocked out, that's what he starts singing.
Oh yeah, man. Remember with the case? Oh my goodness.
And then what do you call it? Panther soundtrack.
Deep cover.
Oh yeah, deep cover.
Deep in the diddle.
Say that again, Reemo.
That had it had two. It had what do you call it? It had the Snoop song, obviously, but then it had Up in Smoke with Warren G and what do you call it?
Oh, you talking about Endo Smoke?
Endo Smoke, yeah.
Mr. Grimm.
Mr. Grimm, yeah.
Damn, I forgot about Mr. Grimm.
Yeah, like man, that's a name I ain't heard in a long time. That boy.
What about the Menace to Society song?
Oh man, God.
Menace to Society was dope.
Trigger got to the heart, man. Spice One.
Yeah, Media Man.
Yeah,
Hey,
Media
man, a
Man.
lot of folks sleep on that soundtrack, man. But that soundtrack, it had a real good balance of R&B and hip hop on that sucker, man.
Fashion and Furious.
The first two.
Yeah,
That Shawnese song off the Media Man soundtrack still to this day one of my favorites, man.
Yeah, I love that video. What up, pretty?
I got one for y'all, man. How to Be a Player.
Yeah, forgot about that.
I got one for y'all too. CB4.
The whole man.
Hey man,
hey, I'm gonna get you, sucker.
I'm gonna get you, sucker.
Oh yeah, Jack of Hearts.
I'm about it.
Check this out. CB4 had Public Enemy, Boogie Down Productions, MC Ren, Hurricane, Fushnikins, Parental Advisory, PM Dawn, Blackstreet, Tracy Spencer, and then Chris Rock them with CB4.
Al said Hurricane, man. I ain't heard Hurricane since that album.
Hurricane featuring the Beastie Boys.
Yeah.
Jesus.
He was the DJ. He was the DJ for Beastie Boys.
Yep.
But Parental Advisory, ain't that they from Atlanta, right?
Yeah. It's 8 Ball and that boy there.
Yep.
Organized Noise before Organized Noise got big, man. PA.
That was basically
when the sun goes down in the whole other world. Yeah. I know about that boy.
Hold on.
I'm black, y'all. I'm black.
And I'm black, y'all. And I'm black of the black, and I'm black, y'all.
Little Nutty Professor.
Nutty Professor was dope. We mentioned Juice earlier. That Juice soundtrack is dope as hell, man. There's so many great soundtracks, man.
Yeah,
we're probably missing.
The Showman was one of the best ones, man.
Yep.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier. Yeah, the Showman was a classic.
The Why, the Bray and Snoop.
Yeah, the show was big.
Oh Lord, I got the fucking hookup. I can't stand Master P, man. I can't stand that one. I got the hookup. Holla if you hear me. Oh,
hey man, Master P selling cereal now, man. Called
I told y'all them damn rap chips good as hell. Told y'all.
Hold up, Master
P.
He's selling cereal now called Hootie Hoos.
Hey, Crooklyn too. Crooklyn and Clark.
Yeah.
Hey, who's the man?
Yeah, we mentioned that one.
Yeah, Clockers was dope though.
Crush Groove.
I'm trying to think of the other one, man.
Players Club.
Now Larry just mentioned that one.
Oh, you didn't mention Players Club? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's one that we done forgot, man. That should have been on the list from jump. And that was the first house party soundtrack.
Yes.
Yeah. Class act, bro.
Luther.
Sister Act.
Yeah, man. There's so many soundtracks, man.
Go right down.
Yo.
Call them out.
Oh man, house party. How can we forget Full Force?
Oh yeah, man. 8 Mile.
Yeah.
Man.
So Larry, what's some of your favorite hip hop albums, man, from the old school, man?
Oh man, how far we going back?
As far back as you want, 80s, 90s.
Cause bro, man, if Big Reemo from the West, man, I'm finna throw out the Doc. No one can do it better.
Yeah,
Easy does it. Of course, the Chronic, Doggy Style, Dog Food, man, anything from that original Dr. Dre Death Row era.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite albums, man. I still got unopened copies to this day of those CDs, man. So, yeah, like I said, that original Ruthless Death Row era was probably, man, my favorite time in hip hop.
Yeah.
And NWA.
Yeah.
You mentioned DOC. That's another one that, if it wasn't for his accident, man, he could have had a lot more albums, man.
Oh yeah, man. Doc, man, was a lot of people don't understand how instrumental he was even in Death Row and actually Aftermath as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just writing perspective. Yeah, that's why I say from a writing perspective, you would have no Snoop, man, if it wasn't for DOC.
Yeah.
Hey Larry, did you find what was that cassette you found? Was it a cassette you found when we went to Bootnut that time?
Oh, you talking? No, I found that original Doggy Style pressing with G's up and hold down on it. That's
yeah, buddy. That's what I'm saying. People don't know that, man. That ain't on everyone.
Yeah.
On some.
Or the Death Row back then, man. They said because they were saying people in the ghetto couldn't afford CDs back then. They would put the extra song on the cassette.
Yeah.
Or like Pain on Above the Rim or Hot One on Murder Was the Case. Suge was saying that the average dude in the ghetto couldn't afford CDs, so he would put the extra tracks on the cassette. Yeah, so
I had the Chronic cassette. I didn't have the CD. I had the cassette.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you said, Reemo, last time you brought the Audio 2 and Gangstar on the same day, that should cost you like $30-something.
Yeah,
it's $100 back in the day, boy. Golly.
He's making that money off of paper routes.
Hey, my boy, crushing them cans, dog.
Man, I tell you what, another era, man, that people sleep on, man, the Duck Down era, man, was actually pretty good, man. The Boot Camp clique, man, that was a good era.
Trying to make me reach, man. I'm going through some of my CDs.
Hey, you got that from the vault, Sean?
Got it from the vault.
Yeah.
DC.
Yes, sir. Oh, the original gun clappers.
I think that's it. No, I got more. Well, I got some DITC in here.
Sir.
Here's the Lord Finesse from the crates.
Ooh, Lord Finesse. Yeah, I can't pull the original stuff, man. My original stuff in storage, man. So I got
this shit right here.
I got terabytes full of music.
This Buck Wild Digging in the Crates double disc CD, which contains like all the shit from the 90s. Man, this was an awesome pickup, man. I loved this album.
I tell you who used to do good stuff like that, man. Funk Flex used to have good the volume 1, 2, and 3 of him. He had some good compilations back in the day.
Yep. There's OC, some Underground King, OC. OC was another one that was great.
Here's a debate, man. Who think, man, AZ just didn't get the push that Nas got, man? So who you think better, AZ or Nas?
AZ best than Nas on his own album.
That's right. Visualizing the realism of life in actuality. Person status.
That solid.
That right there killed everything on that CD from that one song to the end. Bruh, that made me a believer of AZ right there, man. I'm telling you.
Ooh, Big L. Yes, sir. Lifestyle of the Poor and Dangerous.
Classic. Pull that right now.
That CD is
Lifestyles of Poor and Dangerous right here, man.
As we speak, that CD is in my car.
The big picture.
Oh, yeah.
See, I wish I kept my CDs, man. I did like Larry. I just condensed all mine.
That Diamond D.
Yeah, that is.
That's my album right there, boy.
The Projects.
Yeah, boy.
That's my favorite song off that CD.
I mean, y'all gonna let me, I'm gonna call my Big L, man, because I was a huge Tupac fan. and just trying to find out Tupac guest features, man, I ended up buying that Big L album. And that's how I stumbled upon Big L, man, was through Tupac.
Big L was mad. Like he died way before he should have, because he was about to sign the Rockefeller.
Yeah.
I don't even know if Jay-Z will allow that, because Jay-Z couldn't keep up with Big L on that freestyle they dropped on the Stretch and Barbito. I'm like, Jay, you might as well just submit, man.
I think he was welcoming that competition, man, just because nobody else was even close.
I don't know, man. Jazz O was up there with him.
Yeah, Big L was
up there.
Yeah, what? That's a Jay-Z got his style from Jazz O.
I know the original style, man. What I'm talking about is they got deep into the game, man. I don't think that style was that's why Jay-Z switched that style itself.
But I'm saying though, man, that Jazz O could have changed his style up too, man. I'm just saying. I mean, that was like sensei and teacher, student, So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Jazz O evolved.
No, he didn't.
Evolved. Jay-Z kept growing. He would get around other MCs, like you said. He started getting around Big L, started sharpening his sword. He would evolve and go with other people and learn stuff. And then by that time, when he busted out with Biggie, like he was already on his way. He had left that Jazz O style in the dust.
Remember when he was on the song Original Flavor?
Yeah.
He was still using that style. Even on Big Daddy Kane, on his album, he was still using that style.
Yeah, using that style, yeah.
But once he started with Dead Presidents was his first one, where he said, I'm going to do a new style, his regular style.
Yeah, he had to at that point. he was like, I'm about to put this album out, I can't be over there.
I had Common Sense. We talked about him before, Resurrection.
Can I borrow $1?
Can I borrow $1?
Resurrection with the Large Professor remix stuff.
Like Water for Chocolate.
Yep, that's what I listened to before we came on there.
Hey man, who won the battle, man? Cube or Common?
Bitching you, man.
It wasn't even a non-factor. It was like one line for each one of them. Just gave one line. You know what I mean? It was like, and Common.
I don't know, man.
Common did the whole song though.
Yeah, I would say I think, man, Q
the bitch
went over to the West Side Connection. Yeah, he was trying to go.
when West Side Connection got involved, that was different.
Man, West Side Connection destroyed Cypress Hills though. Man, they had me laughing when they did Cypress Hill dirty. King of the Hill.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy because they was all boys.
Yeah, they were in the first. They was Ice Cube was in I Want to Kill a Man video.
Yeah, but they started, man, because Muggs, and then Q wanted to take the song. They had a song called "Throw Your Sets in the Air," and when Q took that for the Friday soundtrack, because he wanted to put that song on Friday soundtrack. When they wouldn't let him do it, he made his own version, and they got mad, man. They were like, "No, that's too close," and it went from there.
Yeah.
I don't believe shit. They was about to drop their album here. This nigga come throwing in some bullshit.
Yeah.
When you about to submit your album, here comes the song sound just like yours. Like, because you gotta admit, after you heard that song from Cube and then that Cypress song came out, you were like, that don't even. And not even knowing the backstory, it was just, that's not tight. You know what I mean? Compared to this one, Cube's beat was better, everything. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, man. Cube in my top 10 all the time, man.
Yeah.
Can't disagree with that, man. Cube has been like, even I love The Predator. People consider his first two albums his best albums, and they are. But The Predator was a pretty dope album, and I think Lethal Injection is underrated.
Very underrated.
I would say, man, I think he was good up until Lethal Injection was probably the downswing. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't. He needed some fresh energy after The Predator.
And the stuff that followed was okay at best.
Yeah.
Matt's over there bagging up some bangers, boy.
I see him over there, man. That's for tomorrow, man. You know,
Hey man, I got this. I ain't getting
ready for
hey man, I told Larry I came home. I was so tired yesterday, man. I went for the bag. Shit yesterday.
Roger.
oh yeah, bro, I was up late last night. Bro, I was up like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning.
I got to scan them in too. That's why I was trying to go ahead and bag so I can go ahead and scan them in.
Gangstar. Yeah.
You know, me and Al always go back and forth about this, man. But you know, I ain't gonna say no expletives on your show, man. But man, boy, bump DJ Premier, man.
Oh yeah, he hate DJ Premier, man.
Are you kidding me?
Do it, Matt. Do it. Yeah, he has a general. He has yeah.
You don't like Gangstar. You don't like Premier.
For Al Raymond, for my boy Al Raymond.
First of all, I need to kick him off the show.
Him,
He said that shit.
Him and Pete Rock, man. Fuck those two, man.
That's a
What? You don't like Pete Rock neither?
Man,
Hey, go ahead and time them out, man. Go ahead and time that shine out, man.
What's wrong with you, bro?
He don't know.
I need to kick you off, man.
Sean, he
Forgive
don't
him, Father, for he not knowing what he did.
he don't know.
No, man. You can't come on the old school hip hop show and disrespect Pete Rock. Let me see this one.
Like I tell Al, man, you know, I just mess around, man. You know, it's just when a lot of people say that, oh, that's what's up, man.
That's awesome, man.
You a lucky son of a gun, boy, I tell you.
It's just, you know, when a lot of people talk about, you know, my favorite is Dr. Dre, of course, man. So when a lot of people try to put them in the same category, man, I'm like, bruh, I do what?
Nah, I mean,
But,
I love Reemo and Dre. They're not really they in different categories.
yeah, it's different categories.
I agree.
Yeah, but I just mess around, man. You know, I have to respect Primo's body of work.
That's no disrespect.
Man, that's the first time I heard you say that, man.
Yeah, it's the first time I heard it.
I think for me, I like being the antagonist a lot of times.
Yes, you do. You do.
But, I respect Primo.
Look at Jace.
Thank you, Jace.
Oh man.
Jay,
look, I'm gonna be a face today, man. I ain't gonna be a heel today, man.
Jay,
so no DX Shawn Michaels?
Yeah, I'm Shawn Michaels after the screw job. You know, I'm the face of the WWF right now.
Hey man, so I hate Shawn Michaels after school. He screwed my boy Brett, man. Oh man. We gotta do a wrestling show one of these days, man. To talk wrestling, man.
Oh yeah, that's the next one, man. We need to do that next, man.
So we can rag on Larry for his love for HBK.
Yeah, I like that comment. If 31 is split it, I think you should give it a split it. That's why I love you, girl. That was my boy right there, man. That damn old dirty bastard.
But check it out, fellas. I gotta shake out, man. I gotta go and get some food for my daughter. So I'm gonna check in with y'all tomorrow on y'all's show, and I'll see you guys later on, man.
Hey, all right, good night, man.
Hold on, brother.
We check
later, man. Awesome, man. So I done sold off a whole bunch of CDs, man. That, like I said, it's not even the extent. I got way more in my other room.
And I said, man, I'm like, I wish I had kept mine out, man. You know, just moving from my house to an apartment, man. It didn't have the space, so I had a problem with storage.
Yeah, you see them that vinyl collection Larry got.
I feel like when we do a show on just old school R&B and funk, I'm gonna bust out the vinyl collection my father gave me.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do that too. A lot of folks don't know I got some vinyl too, man. I don't know. I love vinyl, man. It's you
can't beat that sound, man.
It's just like we talk about. I mean, like we talk about with the comics, man. I need a bigger place because I buy too much shit.
Yeah, man. The guy I put y'all on Instagram, MP4 Pack.
Yeah,
he used to have a comic book collection, but he sold them because he's in the vinyl collecting. It's either one or the other.
Did he have a Hot 181? That's the new running joke. Does he have a Hot 181?
Hey man, that's why I have to, man. That's why I look at, like, you know, shout out to X, man. When I look at X Pop Collect, Yeah, I can do one or the other, man. I can't do both, boy, because you hurt yourself, man.
Yeah.
So now I do sneakers, but even that now I don't get into as much as I used to, man, because you'll go broke, man, trying to buy this and trying to buy that. Well,
hey, Miss Explains, you still down to come on the show tomorrow? Yeah, them buy 3 for $10 mixtapes. I used to kill the corners back in New York.
God, man, what a man. I mean, you Sean, you got to go back, man, and just think. You lived through that shit, man. So I can only imagine just being up in New York during that period, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, man. I remember going to mixunit.com, man, just trying to get half of what y'all got in New York, man. From Clue.
There he is. There he is with the sad faces because he knows.
He had it. He had it. He had 181.
But yeah, being in New York at that time, I used to get everything, man. Like my high school was downtown Brooklyn, right by the Manhattan Bridge. So I used to either go downtown Brooklyn and get some stuff at the corner block, got the bootleg tapes and stuff, or I go to New York, the NYC, Times Square to go to Midtown Comics.
Midtown Comics, boy.
And this was when they first started up. They opened up in 1997, which was my first year in high school.
I bet that shit was crazy back then when they first opened, man.
It wasn't too crazy. Like compared to what it is now, what they've been the last 15 years, with like superstar artists and come like that, they was just new. So it wasn't as wild as it was later on.
It was crazy, man, because when I went to New York, man, and when we went to the one in Times Square, I'm thinking I'm finna see this big elaborate store. You go up the steps, man. I was like, man, it's like a store from back home, man. But yeah, man, it was a good experience though.
Yeah, man. I when I go up there, I occasionally visit it. But it's like nothing new to me. I've been there multiple times, so many times in the past that even with the changes they made, it's still a comic book store, and I still go in there, and then I still see the overpriced comics, and I was like, yeah.
Yeah, man. Like Midtown is one of those spots where you have to like really look hard before you buy it.
Yeah. You
got to catch something that's kind of like what we talked about yesterday, Larry, where you have to catch something where they don't know that the value's up on it.
Yeah, Midtown is like Dr. Knows.
Yeah. If Dr. Knows, then you're in trouble. You better hope you don't know.
I'm talking about, bro. You can go in there, man, and get a average B cover, boy. They ain't pulling no punches, man. It's $30 out the rip, man. You like, man, for a regular B cover?
Yeah, I hate that. I do not like when they charge so much money for a B cover.
So in essence, everybody catching up with Midtown, huh?
Yeah, basically.
But Midtown has a lot of their stuff. What Midtown does is that a lot of their stuff is in online order. And so therefore it gives that illusion like they got this big store. But most of that stuff is stuff they got on White House that they ship out with the online division.
Mm-hmm.
But don't Midtown distribute for DC now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their books come out on Tuesday.
Yep.
I still wait till Wednesday though.
Hey man. Hey Al, that Captain Carrot you talking about, man, that's a ratio variant.
Hey man, I forgot to put it in the group, man.
Yeah, I saw one today.
Oh boy.
I don't care if it's a ratio variant, man. Ain't nobody checking for Captain Carrot like that.
Hey bro, I'm finna give you but I'm gonna put it in the dollar. I mean, I'm gonna put it in the group, man, how much it costs.
Yeah, up there, Dr. No, boy.
Dr. No.
What, about $70?
It's close.
I mean, they selling it on eBay for $64.99. So I mean,
it was 60. Yeah, it was 60. $59.99.
I ain't getting it. I'm gonna wait because ain't nobody gonna buy that book.
Yeah, you just wait that out for about a year. You better get next year 15, 20.
I pre-ordered that Spawn book y'all was talking about earlier.
Man, I'm telling you, man, that book gonna break some records, man. Because
I put the Alex Ross one in the group. Check it out.
What? What?
The cafe one? Go look. The cafe
one.
one.
Yeah. Oh. That's the A cover right there, though.
Yeah. It don't matter. That's gonna probably sell out. That's gonna sell out real quick. That's a guaranteed banger.
Immortal Hulk is on my pull list now, so I get a copy.
Okay.
Yeah.
How is Immortal Hulk now? Have you been reading? Is it still as good as it was when it first started?
Well, Larry can tell you because he actually been reading it from jump. But I just jumped into it. I got to pick up some back issues for me to really start getting into it. So
I fell off into like the probably late teens to early 20s. I really started reading it, man, just because it was off the strength of actually the Will down at Comics Plus. I actually started, he was like, man, it's hot. So I picked it up, and it started out. It was a way different spin on the Hulk than we've ever seen, and it's almost like a horror type book at first. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
then, and then they kind of took the mythos and just, they brought the leader into it now. So they've actually taken that aspect and brought it's like the Incredible Hulk again now. But yeah, it was a decent read. Like I said, I just fell off with it. I wasn't a big Hulk fan in the beginning, but I fell off with it to about maybe late teens, 18, 19, somewhere in that area. So I know what's going on with it now, but I don't purchase it anymore.
Yeah, I remember. I thought it was originally supposed to end at issue 25. That was the goal, and then next thing you know, I'm seeing it's still going. I'm like, damn, I thought they was going to end it at 25.
Yeah, they finna bring my understanding, World Breaker Hulk is getting ready to come back now.
World Breaker Hulk?
Yeah.
Why?
The leader is taking him over. So like I said, you got to read it, man. It's got a lot to do with this thing they call the Green Door. So now the leader is kind of, even Bruce Banner's personality is gone, and the leader is kind of taking over instead of Bruce Banner. So because he wants to take over the world, so he's using the Hulk's body kind of in order to do it. Spoilers. I'm sorry.
But before he do that, him and the Thing go to Waffle House and eat some chicken sandwiches. So that's the cover that, what is it? 38, I think.
I think that's so, him is, he killed Sasquatch. I'm talking about murder.
Man, don't remind me, man. I need to read it though, because Sasquatch is in the alpha. They ain't brought him back yet, have they?
Yeah, he comes back in one of the newer issues, actually. It's a new Sasquatch, actually.
Why they killing? They just don't like each other or something? They repping a different set?
Well, Sasquatch came to town, man, and he just got in the Hulk way. And that's the Devil Hulk persona. Took him out of there.
Damn. Rest in peace, Walter Lingowski.
All right, so I'm looking at the time now.
Pretty strong.
3.5 hours, man. And we even got Larry to come in here and drop some nuggets here or there.
Yeah, hey man, I would have came in earlier, man. It's Friday nights and date nights, man. So I had to take care of
I wanted to keep the show going, hoping that you and X pop on. You came on, X ain't, but hopefully next time. But yeah.
I didn't want to miss this one, man. I want at least come on a little bit, man. Hip hop, man, and comics and sneakers, man. Probably my three things, man, that I can go days about. So,
hey, you would have liked the 90 because he was on the last time and he showed off his sneaker collection.
Yeah.
But I like I said, I grew up, buying cheap sneakers, so I didn't have that mentality to buy multiple sneakers, man. I was like, nah.
Hey, man, it was just a thing, man. Like I say, I think mom and dad were in the frame of mind where, we'll buy a $100 pair, but we're not going to keep doing this again. And then before you know it, it was one of the things where, all right, well, he's doing good in school. So as long as he's doing good in school, if he want this, we'll get it to him. So before you knew it, man, I was like, oh, okay, I saw where that was going. And yeah, man, it was pair after pair after pair until we got to about 98 when the phone posits came out and they were 200. They were 180 at the time when they first dropped. I'm all like, nah,
no,
we ain't gonna do that. If you want to do that, do that on your own. Yeah, like, we crossed the line at about 150, 160. Like, nah, we can't see 200 for a pair of sneakers. So, yeah, God rest the soul. Man, we've been alive now to see where we at now. She's like, oh yeah, I would have bought them for you back then if I knew what they were gonna do now. So
yeah, man. Like I said, my price line was like $60. That was it. 60 was my. That was it, man. I couldn't justify paying $100 for a pair of sneakers, man. Like, nah, man. That's too much money. That $100 I could have put towards a comic book from the Silver Age or something like that, you know?
Oh, man.
Man, it was great having you guys on. I enjoyed it. We had a great show, blast on here. Hopefully we can, in the future, we do a funk and R&B show, and we're going to show off some vinyls.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll definitely look forward to that.
It's always a pleasure, man, to be invited. Yeah,
it's glad to have you on first time on my channel, so that was great. I'll be back on with you guys tomorrow night. There's a show tomorrow night, right?
Yes, tomorrow night we'll be back.
Well, I'll be back with y'all tomorrow night, and I'll also do my show, chatting with the comic community. Comics Mix Explain will be the guest, so we're gonna have fun on there. And of course, I always do Silver Age Sunday with Conquistador and them. So
Silver Age Sunday, that's a hell of a title there.
Yeah, and most of the time we don't even show Silver Age books, man. We just call it the Silver Age Sunday because it's just an easy title. But thanks everybody for showing up in the chat. Anybody who catches the replay, leave a comment, hit the like button, subscribe, and as always, peace out, y'all. Have a great weekend. Make sure y'all sub up the Comic Call and Roundtable discussion as well. Enjoy, y'all.